come on, let's drop it, okay? Let's just order some food.
Why don't you go ahead and order? I lost my appetite. I think I'm gonna go to the library and study.
Trisha.
Ah, what a day. The whole family went down to the lake, including the dog. Seems like just a few weeks ago, she was too stiff to get up, much less run around. But then our veterinarian told us about Rimadil, a breakthrough product that could help her arthritis pain. Help? She's like her old self again. Isn't that right, lady?
As with other pain relievers in this class, digestive and liver side effects may occur.
Once they become teenagers, boy, do their tastes change. Everything gets louder, and they're always hungry. Sure glad I found this.
Introducing new Chef Boyardee overstuffed beef ravioli. It's huge ravioli overflowing with beef to satisfy their growing appetites, and zestier to satisfy their grown-up tastes.
This is good stuff. But no matter how big he gets, he'll always be my little baby.
Mom.
New overstuffed beef ravioli from Chef Boyardee. If I could fall asleep right now, I'd get 6 good hours. I could still get 4 hours. 4 hours is okay. I've done without sleep before. Oh, I can do it again.
If you can't sleep, if things you've tried leave you groggy the next day, your doctor has an innovative approach to sleep therapy you should know about. Sleep Solutions from Searle.
Take me to the woods. Take me to a place where I can see. For you, where you are with. How was it here? Oh, for when things go big. And when you're so happy, full of truth.
Will there be justice for John Benet? New details from her parents.
Did you ever consider each other? No, absolutely not.
New charges that someone tried to blackmail this detective.
Threatening to publish private photographs.
Now, will the grand jury finally indict someone for murder? 48 Hours investigates Thursday.
For generations, they lived off the sea.
Fishing is what we do.
Until now.
He wants us to sell out.
Sharon Lawrence and Richard Kiley in his final performance. Blue Moon, CBS Sunday.
Look, Malcolm, I don't mean to pry, but I have been wondering how you and Olivia are doing.
Olivia and I are just fine, Kelly.
You want to be straight with me?
I'm not real comfortable with this topic.
Because of what I said before I left, that I was in love with you.
It did catch me a little off guard, yeah.
It's the truth.
I don't think we should have this conversation.
Maybe we should.
Okay, Kelly, look. I will admit there's a few things about the two of us that I didn't want to accept. I didn't want to see it. But I'm not about to open all that up again right now.
Afraid of what you'll find there?
I know what I'll find there.
You know how I feel, Malcolm. Either that doesn't make a difference because you'll never feel the same about me, or deep down inside, you do care, but you're not willing to admit it. Just remember, feelings like that never go away. Not really.
So, it's official, huh?
My new position? Mm-hmm. These papers outline my responsibilities.
Dr. Sorensen was very pleased to have you on board.
Yeah, Willie's always been a big supporter of mine.
Well, I get the feeling that there weren't any other candidates as far as Sorensen was concerned.
I wouldn't say that.
You wouldn't, huh? So, did the hospital approach you about this job, or?
Well, I knew it was available, and they assured me I'd be considered.
Is that it?
Is what it, Neil? What are you asking me?
Yeah. Now, come on, Libby. You know damn well what I'm asking.
No, I don't know what you're getting at.
Yes, you do know what I'm getting at. I'm getting at the fact that you're lying. Right now, you're standing here lying to me. You're lying to me and to your husband about this position.
Come on, Michael. The permanent custody hearing, certainly you have to have some kind of plan.
That information is strictly confidential.
Confidential. Michael, this is me you're talking to. We're a team. We have been from the start. All right. It's fine. I trust you. You haven't let me down so far.
By the way, your good friend Al turns out to be a child molester.
What?
Tried and convicted.
My God.
Evidently, Alice didn't know.
And you believe her?
Yes, Grace. I did. She's already thrown the guy out on his ear.
Wait a minute. This is good for Cassie, isn't it? I mean, Alice doesn't stand a chance now. Michael, I am so grateful for everything you've done for Cassie. I don't know how I'll ever be able to thank you.
I could come up with a few suggestions.
Well, one thing's for sure. I don't have anything to worry about. Not with you on my side.
How's it look?
That should do it.
All right. Let's get out of here. Some pretty harsh words you said before about the state of the world.
I didn't mean to offend.
No, you didn't offend me. I just don't agree with what you have to say.
No?
You know, I've learned that we all face obstacles in life. Why not just face them and then head on and fight for what you believe in, instead of running away?
Who says I'm not fighting?
Let's still get out of here.
Not so fast, mister. We can't leave. Not yet.
What do you mean, not yet?
I mean, not yet. Because I said so.
Even Gerber babies never had it this good. All because of a wonderful new idea called Nature Lock. Giving Gerber fruits and veggies more of their natural goodness, a fresh picked taste. Nature Lock is a new way of cooking, with less heat, that locks in more of the goodness nature intended, without any added sugar or starch. My Gerber babies keep getting bigger, while Gerber keeps getting better. Taste for yourself. Shouldn't your baby be a Gerber baby?
If you're looking for real heavy rain, look no further than La Push, Washington. For real big trees, Auric, California. Real early risers, Allagash, Maine. And for real ranch dressing, Hidden Valley. Made from the original recipe, it's how ranch is supposed to taste. Hidden Valley, we're keeping it real.
Cleaner teeth with new Reach Ultra Clean, the toothbrush proven to deliver a superior clean. Its 3 unique sets of bristles clean all hard-to-reach places. New Reach Ultra Clean.
Don't just brush, reach.
Keep it going. Okay, that's enough.
Bayer can relieve joint inflammation and stiffness. Tylenol can't. And taken regularly, Bayer can help save your life. Ask your doctor. Bayer, powerful pain relief, and so much more. The Turks are about to face their biggest test as cops.
Go, go, go!
And as a family.
This time maybe he comes home in a box.
My God.
All new Turks, CBS Thursday.
Join us again for The Young and the Restless.
Coming up next on News 13.
Bankruptcy court trustees face a difficult job breaking bad news to customers who want to know if they'll ever see their money or their merchandise from a local dress shop. We'll have a live follow-up report. It's a total loss for a Southside clothing store destroyed by fire. And some Southern Arizona troops are shipping out to another overseas mission. Hello, I'm Mindy Blake. Barbara is off today. News 13 at noon is next.
Joseph, I'm not going to tell you again. I want you to pick up your things and get ready to go. Honey, we've had our fun, but now we have got to go. I know you want to stay, sweetheart, but we can't always have what we want.
I'm not going.
Apache Gold Casino Resort with a new championship golf course and so much more. A weekend may not be enough. Call today for hotel or fun bus reservations.
No boy.
This is News 13 at noon.
Angry customers are again trying to find out what happens next. They paid for wedding gowns and prom dresses, but the bankrupt dress shop may not be able to deliver. Good afternoon. Bankruptcy trustees are braving angry customers of the brides and proms shop today. The Eastside dress store closed abruptly last week and filed for bankruptcy. Dozens of customers are left wondering, will they get their wedding gowns or prom dresses? And if not, will they ever see their money again? Shelley Jackson joins us live from outside the shop. And Shelley, are the trustees saying anything that's reassuring to the customers?
Well, no, not really, Mindy. Basically, if your dress is not inside the shop right now, you are out of luck. We did just see one girl walk out with a dress, though, so she was one of the few lucky ones. Liquidators are inside right now helping out those customers who have shown up. Less than a dozen have been here since 10 o'clock this morning. They are being allowed in one at a time to handle their needs. If your dress was ordered, you will more than likely never see it or your money again. Tax rentals are not being handled either. The bankruptcy trustee is here to give advice to those folks who are left empty-handed, and some folks are thinking about filing charges.
To me, in my opinion, it's fraud. You know, they took our money knowing, because bankruptcy is a process that, you know, takes at least, you know, a few months to kind of get the paperwork together, so they had to have known.
If they want to file a claim with the bankruptcy court, they can do that. Although, as I've said before, the likelihood of them getting anything out of that is very, very slim.
Now, you have until 2 o'clock today if you want to come down here, and then they are open tomorrow from 10 to 2. After that, the store will be closed. Mindy?
Shelley, do we know anything more today about the parent company?
Well, I did try to call this other company that has been linked. We don't know if it's like a headquarter or a parent company. I could find no listing for it with the Better Business Bureau information or the Chamber of Commerce in a city called Grove, Oklahoma.
Yeah, and I understand the owner is out of state.
That's what I've been able to find out.
All right, thank you, Shelley. Tucson homicide investigators are on the scene of a murder this afternoon. Around 2:30 this morning, police responded to a call of suspicious activity at a home in the 5900 block of South 6th Avenue. When officers arrived, they found a man's body on the floor. No word yet on suspects or how the man died.
They arrived at a residence. They found the door standing open. They went inside to investigate, and they found the body of a male subject, probably mid-60s in age, dead on the scene. At this time, the circumstances surrounding the incident and his death are currently under investigation.
Investigators have identified the man, but they are not releasing his name until they can notify his family. Tucson firefighters spent the night battling an extremely dangerous fire at a Southside clothing store. Several people called 911 just after midnight when they saw flames coming from the roof of the Parents Palace. That's near 6th Avenue and 44th Street. But by that time, the fire was already raging. John Brodsky has more.
These are the kind of fires that kill firefighters, and so we're very concerned that somebody could be seriously injured here. This particular building is just loaded with really highly combustible materials. A lot of clothing, linens, stock shelves, even the furniture and things that are in these kinds of stores burns very well.
Greg Napier was one of the first to go inside the building, and he was one of the last to escape before the structure began to collapse around the crew.
We went through the side door, the north side of the business. We forced entry through that door. Upon making entry, we took our hose line in. We were able to get in about 20 feet. That's when I walked into a charred timber. There was fire all around on the floor and everything. We put that out. And about that time, I think the man was making a decision for us to come on out. Reluctantly, I didn't want to come out, but about that time, that's when another roof beam came down between me and my captain, and that's when I decided to come out.
Fire crews took a defensive position outside the store, just trying to keep the fire from spreading. At one point, they were pouring more than 8,000 gallons of water per minute onto the blaze. More than 3 dozen firefighters battled for an hour and 15 minutes, but the flames were just too powerful.
We tried to keep the property damage to a minimum because, you know, the business owner, you know, he suffered quite a loss here. When you go defensive mode, you pretty much lost the building.
The building might be gone, but luckily no one was injured. John Brodsky, News 13.
Tucson Fire still doesn't know how the fire started, but they have started adding up the damage, more than $250,000 to merchandise alone. An 18-year-old Tucson man is charged with manslaughter and leaving the scene of an accident. South Tucson police arrested Luis Guillermo Montañez Jr. after he allegedly ran over and killed a 70-year-old man in a crosswalk last month. Police say the suspect kept on driving after he hit the man, but officers caught up with him minutes later thanks to a call from a Suntran bus driver who saw the incident. A Nogales immigration inspector will plead guilty to drug charges. Martin Roberto Ronquillo Rojas is one of 4 INS inspectors indicted in January on drug corruption charges. Rafael Landa pleaded guilty last month to conspiring to import cocaine. Case closed. Charles Keating, the man responsible for the huge savings and loan scandal of the 1980s, is a free man. Yesterday, a federal judge accepted Keating's plea agreement. Keating pleaded guilty to 4 counts of fraud. He was sentenced to just under 5 years in prison, which was commuted to the time he served at the federal prison here in Tucson. The original case involved investors' losses worth $200 million. Yesterday, the judge did not impose any fines on Keating because he felt Keating doesn't have the resources to pay them. County administrators are lobbying supervisors today to spare their departments from the Budget Act. According to a state audit, the county faces a $43 million debt, and supervisors are searching for places to trim. Bud Foster joins us now, live from outside the county administration building downtown. What happened today, Bud?
Well, what we had today, Mindy, was the birth of a 600-pound gorilla, maybe even an 800-pound gorilla. The Pima County Sheriff's Department, the Pima County Attorney's Office, and the Superior Courts all banded together to form an alliance, and they're calling it the Pima County Public Safety Alliance, and they will deal as a group with budget issues. In fact, they said today they will present a budget to the Board of Supervisors this June, sort of a super budget, which includes all 3 of the agencies. They spoke today about how all of the agencies are woefully short of cash and how it affects public services. However, they would not endorse the have-since sales tax to solve their financial problems.
There's a variety of remedies that can occur, and Clarence and I have our personal preferences as to what we would like to see happen, but there's a variety of things. There's sales tax, there's property tax increase, there's the sale of assets, there's cutting expenditures and non-mandated services. There's a variety of different ways in which to approach it.
I talked to Supervisor Ray Carroll, who was standing in the back of the room while all of this was going on, and I leaned over to him and I said, Ray, this makes, as a group, this makes these people...
And Randy, at least 5 countries have agreed to take in the refugees.
That's right, Mindy, including the United States, which would take about 10,000 refugees to Guantanamo Bay, Cuba. Today, one of those countries, Turkey, got ready to take in over 1,000 Kosovar Albanian refugees. Many who made the trip needed medical care before leaving the airport. Turkey has agreed to take in 20,000 refugees in all. The pictures coming out of Macedonia and Albania are overwhelming. Thousands of men, women, and children with no homes, no food, no medical care, and nowhere to go. It's a call for Kosovars to move from Macedonia to take refuge even further from home. But this offer of a temporary stay in Turkey has few takers here. Most would rather stay as refugees in Macedonia. For the moment, at least, there is a feeling of hope they will eventually go back to Kosovo.
Why I feel bad, because I and all these people want that back in Kosovo.
Beneath the sea of white canvas, this transit camp alone houses 25 to 30,000 Kosovars, forced from their homes, they say, because of Serb intimidation, and they're dependent on international aid to keep them alive. This camp and others like it, built by NATO, are already straining under the weight of feeding the tens of thousands of refugees on Macedonian soil. Keeping Kosovars healthy, NATO says, is its top concern.
Principal concern is sanitation. The weather's been very hot today, as you know, and we've managed to clear a lot of rubbish away. The people have been very good about collecting that rubbish. We're deep-trenched latrines need replacing. We need people in here to help us move this on.
But although aid workers in NATO say no one will be forced to leave this camp, there's concern over how long they'll all be allowed to stay. Now, even though other countries are taking in refugees, just like you just heard, some refugees don't want to go. From the camp you just saw in Macedonia, just over 1,000 have agreed to leave. Aid relief is being collected right here in Tucson and for the refugees in Albania and Macedonia. World Care, who operates Tucson Relief Network, is collecting supplies for Kosovar refugees. They are storing the supplies at the former Silo store at 320 South Wilmot. Along with volunteers, World Care needs several items to ship to the Balkans.
Things that we need are winter clothing, undergarments, new if possible, which is like underwear and T-shirts for children and adults of all sizes. We also need blankets and personal hygiene.
The group puts together personal hygiene kits for the refugees. Some of the items included in those kits are toothpaste, washcloths, and towels, soap, shampoo, and toothbrushes. They're also looking for stuffed animals for the children. If you would like to help the Kosovar refugees, here's how. There are a number of ways. The American Red Cross needs money donations. You may send checks to the American Red Cross, Southern Arizona Chapter, 4601 East Broadway, Tucson, Arizona, 85711. The Salvation Army also has a relief fund. Checks may be sent to the Salvation Army World Services Office, Post Office Box 269, Alexandria, Virginia, zip code 22313. The Jewish Community Relations Council will send donations to the Kosovo Refugee Relief Fund. The address is 3822 East River Road, Tucson, 85718. And the Tucson Relief Network, like we just mentioned, is accepting blankets and clothing. You may drop off items at their warehouse at 320 South Wilmot Road, or you may send a check to TRN at Post Office Box 64001, Tucson, 85728. And you need to designate the donations to go to Kosovo, Albania, or TRN. Now, they say 100% of the money will go to the relief efforts. Some hopeful but guarded news today about the 3 U.S. soldiers captured in Yugoslavia. President Slobodan Milosevic says he is willing to talk about their release, but only through Cyprus. This is Serbian TV video of Staff Sergeant Christopher Stone, Army Specialist Stephen Gonzalez, and Staff Sergeant Andrew Ramirez. The 3 were captured March 31st near the Yugoslav-Macedonian border. But the U.S. has told a Cypriot official not to travel to Yugoslavia since heavy bombing will continue there. And the U.S. State Department today had a warning for Serb military officers.
Under international law and Article 7 of the Statute of the Tribunal for former Yugoslavia, commanders can be indicted, prosecuted, and if found guilty, imprisoned, not only for crimes they themselves commit, but also for failing to prevent crimes occurring or for failure to prosecute those who commit crime.
NATO also said today it will not stop the bombing to win the release of the captured U.S. soldiers. As NATO planes continue their airstrikes, NATO today released satellite pictures of some of the targets. As you're about to see here are a Belgrade hangar just before it gets hit, then the same hangar after being bombed. Also seen in this video, an airfield in Pristina, the capital of Kosovo, before and after being hit. Late this afternoon, the Pentagon reported a small U.S. reconnaissance plane with no crew on board has gone down in Yugoslavia. The aircraft, known as a Hunter, is an unmanned plane used as a surveillance aid. It transmits video images to military officials. More troops from Fort Huachuca are headed overseas, but they're not going to Eastern Europe. 20 members of the 11th Signal Brigade took off for the Middle East today. They'll be joined by another 30 of their comrades. They are members of the 11th Signal Brigade, responsible for the Army's overall satellite communications. They'll be back home in a couple of months. No word on whether these troops may be sent to Kosovo at a later date.
I'm sure they'll be ready for it if they have to go. All right, thank you, Randy. Back home, Tucson police are looking for a suspect in the city's latest murder. Someone called police early this morning to report suspicious activity at a home in the 5900 block of South 6th Avenue. When officers arrived, they found 62-year-old Santiago Rios dead on the floor. Investigators say he had been stabbed. Fire investigators say an electrical short is to blame for a $500,000 fire in Tucson today. It happened early this morning at the Pant Palace clothing store on South 6th Avenue. It took 38 firefighters an hour and 15 minutes to put out the fire. Crews made it out of the building just before the roof collapsed. A Tucson fire spokesman says the fire started in the attic. Tom's here with a look at our first weather. The wind is the word for this afternoon.
That is the big story
really
with this
windy.
storm, not the rainfall. We could have used a little bit more rain, but take a look at these readings for southern Arizona, the peak wind gusts. 37 miles per hour at the airport. Right here at KOLD Television, Channel 13 Studios, 46 miles per hour. Fort Huachuca, 47, and down in Douglas, 45 miles per hour. If you're wondering where the storm front is, looking northwest on live tower cam right now, and if we can pan to the left, we'll basically move along that frontal area. If we could pan the tower cam, showing that there is certainly a cloud line there, but most of those clouds moving to the north. So we may see some clouds early this evening, but don't expect any widespread showers. Overnight low around 40 degrees, and then tomorrow, after a few clouds at times in the morning, we'll call for mostly sunny skies and warm temps. And it looks like it'll stay warm for the most part as we head to the weekend, your 7 days coming up.
So it must just be the wind. That's it, really.
That's right. It kind of took a left turn, and I'll discuss some of that coming up.
Thanks, Tom. Fourth graders drinking beer? You may think that's unheard of, but according to a recent survey, some young kids are drinking alcohol. A national anti-drug group says 2% of the 26,000 fourth graders they talked to admitted drinking beer monthly. And others said they drank wine coolers or sniffed inhalants. More disturbing, the use of beer increases as they get older. The Parents Resource Institute did the research. A Florida middle school principal who students say referred to them as trailer trash is fighting back. Francis Cuddy today filed a lawsuit in Orlando claiming defamation. Several students claim Cuddy called them trailer trash after they complained because the bus was late leaving school. Cuddy says the only thing she did was to ask the students to sit down and be quiet. The school district has been investigating the incident and did transfer Cuddy to another school.
Coming up next on News 13.
Tucson brides trying to salvage their weddings to show up again at a local bridal shop, hoping to leave with the dress of their dreams. No more complaining about the huge gap between men and women's pay. New stats show the gap is much smaller than we thought. And later, it's a monkey on the loose, but this one has a high wire act.
Closed captioning for KOLD News 13 is brought to you by the Robert Trent Jones Golf Trail of Alabama.
Hi, Bobby and Brad from 94.9 Mix FM with the $30,000 money song.
Listen to 94.9 Mix FM tomorrow morning at 7:10 for the Song of the Day.
You'll have 3 chances to win $500.
The $30,000 money song from 94.9 Mix FM.
Bob. Bob. Wake up, Bob. You've been pre-approved for a bank card like no other. The plutonium card.
Are telemarketers interrupting your private time?
Not gold, not platinum. Plutonium.
Get new caller ID with Privacy Plus. It blocks unidentified calls automatically.
I know you can hear me, sleepyhead.
Order now, and you'll get free activation. Privacy Plus from Uswest. A whole new reason life's better here.
Are you there, Bob? Bob?
Oh, no, they have an orange flurry drink. Oh, make it 2. And I'll take an extra long chili cheese coney. Hey, can you have some jalapenos on that?
You bet. At Sonic, America's Drive-In, our great menu's always full of surprises. Like offering 99-cent specials you can't get just anywhere. Try our Junior Double Cheeseburger, Crispy Cheese Tots, or our famous large Cherry Limeade, each just 99 cents.
Oh, Bacon. Oh, thanks. You're terrific. Thanks. That's it.
So for great specials and great service, drive in for a change at Sonic.
Rock has so much more than you bargained for. Do you love it? I love it. I got it at Rock.
It's the Ross $14.99 swimwear collection. Save up to 75% on the summer's hottest styles.
Do you love it? I love it. I got it at Ross.
The Ross $14.99 swimwear collection. Don't you just love it?
Hi, Bobby and Brad from 94.9 Mix FM with the $30,000 money song.
Listen to 94.9 Mix FM tomorrow morning at 7:10 for the song of the day.
You'll have 3 chances to win $500.
The $30,000 money song from 94.9 Mix FM.
A Tucson bridal shop closed its doors last week, declaring bankruptcy and leaving customers high and dry. This was the scene a week ago outside Brides and Proms on East Broadway. Hundreds showed up only to find locked doors and little help. Brides whose dresses were in the store did manage to get them, but for those whose dresses had not yet come in, they were basically out of luck. A similar scene today at the bridal shop, but today bankruptcy trustees were there to answer customers' questions. Shelley Jackson was there when the store opened, and Shelley, there have been reports of another company connected to Brides and Proms. What have you been able to find out about that?
Well, Mindy, that other company is called Wedding Etiquette. It was originally reported to be based out of Oklahoma, but I found out that it is listed with the Arizona Corporation Commission, and it shares this same address. 5420 East Broadway is the address for Brides and Proms and Wedding Etiquette. According to the Arizona Corporation Commission, Ed and Rena Bearruther are owners or principal shareholders in both businesses. Some Brides and Proms customers say they noticed the name Wedding Etiquette on some of their credit card bills.
The last couple of payments we made on the dress, the actual name switched to a Wedding Etiquette.
The only relationship to this business that I'm aware of is that they may have been running some of the charges through the Wedding Etiquette Visa account because their accounts were being levied by the Arizona Department of Revenue.
Stan Karchner is a bankruptcy trustee. He was at Brides and Proms today advising customers on the few options they have left. They can file fraud charges with Tucson police and complaints with the county and state attorneys general, but
the likelihood of them getting anything out of that is very, very slim. And so it's really almost an exercise in futility.
Several Tucson bridal shops say they suspected something was wrong at Brides and Proms. They say Rena Bearruther has not been to industry fashion shows for at least 6 months. That's where bridal shop owners order samples for their stores. They also told me she was selling dresses at very low markups, but demanding cash in full and up front. A practice, they say, could not keep a company solvent for a long time.
To me, in my opinion, it's fraud. You know, they took our money knowing, because bankruptcy is a process that, you know, takes at least, you know, a few months to kind of get the paperwork together, so they had to have known.
Now, since Brides and Proms filed bankruptcy last week, several women have gone to other stores to find some help. Those shopkeepers say they have called the manufacturers to reorder their gowns, and they found out that those gowns were never ordered in the first place. And this is not the first time owners of Brides and Gowns, or Brides and Proms rather, has filed bankruptcy. She also filed at a store in Phoenix and in Missouri. Mindy?
Shelley, I noticed a lot of the dresses still had names, obviously reserved. Girls, women who are getting married that actually picked out their dresses, their names are on them. They're still in the store. They can't just go in and pick them up?
They can, and tomorrow is the last chance from 10 o'clock until 2 o'clock. And if your dress is not here, you are really out of luck. You will not get your dress, and you will not get a refund either.
And I imagine if you only paid for part of it, you'll have to pay the balance.
Right.
Okay. Thanks, Shelley. A women's group claims the glass ceiling for women is disappearing. The Independent Women's Forum released a book today that says the wage gap between men and women aged 27 to 33 is less than 2%. And since 1973, the number of women on corporate boards has risen from 11% to 72%. The forum is calling this encouraging.
Economists have often known, they've long known, with many studies to prove it, that the adjusted wage gap between men and women, the difference in wages adjusted for their jobs, their ages, their experience, their education, and their time in the workforce, is far smaller than the average wage gap.
The report comes on the eve of Equity Pay Day, a day dedicated to citing wage gaps between equally qualified men and women. The $64,000 question, which is better for you, butter or margarine? Today on Health Beat, we'll tell you which you should be spreading on your bread.
And in weather, just confirmation that, yes, wintry weather is affecting parts of the West. We'll take you to Southern California, where they saw snow today. On the flip side, it seems to be just teasing us. It looks like just wind for this latest storm. Your forecast is coming up next.
In a land divided by a century of bloodshed, her courage brought hope.
Wife, put yourself in danger all for a would-be king who cares nothing for you.
Because I must.
Her loyalty rallied a people.
She is going to unite all of France behind me.
You will betray her once she has outlived her youth. Her sacrifice
Why are you punishing me for talking to God?
saved a nation.
God and friends!
Joan of Arc, a world premiere this May on CBS.
The world is a stressful place, but now there's a place to get away. The new smooth jazz 97.5, The Oasis. Finally, a station that plays all refreshing and relaxing music. Come escape to Tucson's new stress-free radio station. Smooth jazz 97.5, The Oasis.
Hello, it's me, Jamie Lee Curtis, calling you on my Voice Stream Wireless from my hammock in my yard. Since it's a weekday, it's only 10 cents a minute statewide. And if it was the weekend, it'd be free nationwide, which means no matter who I call, anywhere, it's cheaper than calling from my kitchen phone. Not to mention that I'm fairly relaxed here in my hammock. Hello.
Hi, buddy. I'm Jim Click with a great driving tip. During the recent LPGA tournament, we supplied over 80 new Lincolns and Mercuries, including the all-new Town Car and Lincoln Navigator, and now you can drive what the pros drove. And listen to this. Ford Motor Credit's going to make your first payment and pay your first year's license fee. That's a savings up to $1,500. So one short drive to a Jim Click Lincoln Mercury dealership can save you a lot of money.
When you give a solitaire, you say more. And you say it with more brilliance, more depth, more fire. The Diamond Solitaire. A diamond is forever. De Beers.
Now, here's Chief Meteorologist Tom Johnston's weather forecast.
This is seen to our west in northern portions, I should say, the northern elevations of Southern California, where sledding was certainly in order. Father pushing his children along, where they picked up a good deal of snowfall, and parents helping out making the snowfall. Sure, get the camcorder out and check out the family in the winter scene, because this is a little unusual for Southern California when we're talking about this time of year. You can see on the southwestern satellite several things. First of all, that storm that you just saw on the video moving through Southern California. Also a bit of a dry slot from around Tucson and southeastward, then some high clouds moving along the jet stream. Now, I think these high clouds will just factor in our forecast a little bit tomorrow morning. Otherwise, looking for mostly sunny skies as this low pulls north. That's what happened with this system. A lot of you were expecting clouds developing throughout the day, maybe some scattered showers. Of course you were. Well, most of it was off to the west in Arizona, places like Phoenix and Kingman seeing some precipitation. The main event with this storm for us has been the wind, and it looks to be a breezy day again tomorrow, not quite as strong though. Again, you can notice on this Pacific satellite that that system is pulling off to the north, so it's kind of avoiding us. Lows tonight are going to be chilly on the backside of it, freezing for Bisbee, 36 in Nogales, 45 Gila Bend and Ajo, 37 for Safford and Benson. Highs tomorrow will be 73 for Safford and Benson, 74 for Douglas. Breezy conditions and a high of 75 expected for Tucson. After that, what can you expect? Well, on Friday, I think we'll see a pretty good wind again as the system will brush us to the north. I'm calling for mostly sunny skies, but a bit cooler and windy on Friday, 71. Then on Saturday and Sunday, we really kick up on the temperatures, 80 and 87 for those 2 days respectively. Currently in Tucson, 67 degrees, relative humidity at 24%. Big story, the winds. Southwest at 26, gusting to 38. So there's a new maximum wind gust at the airport. That's 38 miles per hour. High today, just down 2 degrees from yesterday. Yeah, we certainly were not as cool as we thought we'd get today. In fact, we were pretty close to normal. And again, no precipitation for today. Not for us. Places like Phoenix got the activity today. The west is really where the action is. The rest of the country, pretty quiet, high pressure in control. It's dry in the northeast and east. 31 for Wilcox tonight, 37 in Sierra Vista, warming into the 60s and 70s tomorrow. Your forecast in detail tonight, a few evening clouds, especially north and west of Tucson. Winds diminishing, thank goodness. 40 degrees tonight, 75 tomorrow with a few morning clouds, then mostly sunny. Sunrise at 6:03, sunset at 6:48 with clear skies tomorrow night, again around 40. Next 3 nights, we'll have overnight lows around 40 degrees, and it looks like sunshine this weekend.
Good, so clear sailing. All right, thanks, Tom. For a look ahead to News 13 at 6, let's go to Randy in the newsroom.
Well, Mindy, new at 6, we've been reporting for months about the Pima County budget shortfall, and now it appears that everybody wants a piece of the pie, but Foster is going to tell us more about that at 6.
Well, yeah, so much so that 3 very large agencies, the county sheriff, the Pima County Attorney's Office, and Superior Courts got together to form an alliance, a very powerful organization when it comes to budget time, and we'll tell you how it works.
All right, thanks a lot, Bud. Also, we'll tell you about plans by 2 different daredevils to take on the Grand Canyon in 2 different ways. We'll show you that. We'll also talk about the meteoric rise in gas prices, the meteoric rise in baseball salaries, and the Pima County Fair, and a man who wants to ride his riding lawnmower across country. Mindy?
Sounds like fun. Thanks, Randy. Well, driving at night is a lot harder for most people than driving during the day. The question is, why? Registered nurse Peggy Pico is here to explain how does darkness affect our eyes?
Well, it actually works like this. Darkness makes it more difficult to see colors, to discern colors, and also to discern depth. And it does one more thing. New research also finds that night drivers don't perceive motion as well. So basically everything you need to see well while you drive. When the lights are low, color fades away because most of your vision comes from the black and white seeing rods at the back of the eye. But these cells don't perceive motion accurately. So objects appear to be moving slower than they actually are. That's why on a low-lit highway, you might think cars outside your headlights are moving slower than they actually are. And everybody knows that margarine is better for you than that rich, creamy, fat-filled butter, right? Well, it depends on what's in your margarine. Trans fatty acids found in some types of margarine are actually worse for the heart than the saturated fats in butter. Sticks of margarine tend to be high in trans fat, which form when vegetable oils are processed into solids. But if you use margarine with low trans fat, like found in tubs or liquid form, it can lower your cholesterol. And a few weeks ago, the News 13 team joined in on the Multiple Sclerosis Walk, a fundraiser to help people with multiple sclerosis. Hundreds of people showed up to the walk to walk either the 1-mile or 6-mile course. And one woman, Sandy Stein, alone raised $5,000 for the walk and is now only $800 away from her goal of reaching a $10,000 donation. If you missed the walk and want to help Sandy reach that $10,000 goal, you can contact the Tucson Multiple Sclerosis Society at 747-7472. And with all the pledges tallied today, the Multiple Sclerosis Society raised a total of $55,000 from the walk.
That's terrific. And there's a national chapter, too.
There's a national chapter, but the good news is about 60% of all the money that was raised at this walk will stay right here in Tucson.
To help people, our
right
friends
here.
and neighbors. Oh,
that's right.
Thanks, Peggy. A lot of monkeying around in Japan today, but at least he put on an acrobatic show while he was at it.
They're back. It's another exciting season of Sidewinders baseball. This Saturday, April 10th, the first 3,000 fans, adults and kids, with a paid admission, will receive a free Sidewinders cap. Game time is 7:30. Gates open at 6 at Tucson Electric Park. Tickets are now on sale at the Sidewinders ticket office or all Dillard's ticket outlets. Sponsored by Circle K and 92.9 Cool FM.
American Home Furnishings is your total home store with the Southwest's best selection of furniture and home products, all at everyday low prices. American Home Furnishings has a large selection of armoires, desks, curio cabinets, cedar chests, and much more in a variety of styles and finishes, including this handcrafted pine armoire featuring storage drawers, shelving, and iron hardware. At American, it's just $3.99 every day. Great values plus quick, easy financing. American Home Furnishings.
Didn't make it home in time? Stanley Steamer gets out the toughest spots and odors. Call today. They'll clean today.
Have 3 areas in your home cleaned for $79.
Stanley Steamer, tough on dirt,
Is your hallway more like a highway? Stanley Steamer removes the toughest, deepest dirt safely and gently.
Have 3 areas in your home cleaned for $79.
Stanley Steamer, tough on dirt, gentle on carpet.
Why is that woman staring at me? Oh, she's probably not. Why am I so paranoid?
I can't believe I said that. That's something my father would say. Great, I'm turning in my father. Unbelievable.
Look, somebody left a cardboard box. That'd make a cool fort. Or a tank. Yeah, a tank.
When was the last time you went to Baskin-Robbins? Come on in for 2 scoops of your favorite flavors, smothered in hot fudge, whipped cream, and topped with a cherry. The $1.99 2-scoop sundae at Baskin-Robbins. Happiness served daily.
Every night at Boston Market, dinner starts at just $3.99. For $3.99, get our rotisserie chicken, one of our mouth-watering sides, and cornbread. And we guarantee 100% satisfaction or your meal's on us. So take Boston Market home tonight.
Look for 3 agencies to join forces in Pima County soon, and that should have an effect on your pocketbook. We'll tell you how on News 13 at 6 o'clock. That wind's going to die down.
It should die down tonight. It looks like this was our last chance for any rainfall. Tomorrow, a dry day, mostly sunny statewide. You know, Flagstaff right now seeing heavy snow, but tomorrow they'll clear out. That's really the only location, though, seeing the kind of precipitation that is expected with these kind of storms. It looks like it just moved off to the north.
Good. Well, that's okay.
Yeah, that's all right.
We had our fill on Sunday.
We did.
All right. Thanks, Tom. It's like a page out of a Curious George book. People on Japan's Kyushu Island are getting impromptu circus performances from a new kid on the block. Out of the blue, a monkey has taken to performing his own circus routine on the roofs of their houses. The more cheers the monkey gets from his audience, the more intense he is on performing. So far, no one's been able to catch him, so the show will go on.
The natural ham.
He really is. He loves it.
Very nimble, too.
Thanks for joining us. The CBS Evening News is next.
We'll see you at 6.
Bye-bye now.
The K-Hit 107.5 $300 3-play of the day. It's as easy to win as 1, 2, 3.
Listen to us, Bobby and Wendy, weekday mornings at 8:20.
We'll tell you the 3 classic hits to listen for between 8 a.m. and 5 p.m.
And at 8:20 only, we're going to tell you the exact hour of the 3-play.
When you hear the 3 classic hits played in order, the 3-play, be caller 3 at 880-K-HIT.
Come on, somebody's going to win $300 tomorrow.
And $1,000 on Thursday.
Why not you?
The $300 3-play of the day on Classic Hits K-Hit 107.5.
During the round and after, the pros know the best drive. They drive one home from your Chrysler Plymouth Jeep dealer. Right now, get special savings on courtesy cars used during the Tucson Open. Get 0% APR on Chrysler Town & Country, Plymouth Grand Voyager, or Jeep Grand Cherokee. Drive away Motor Trend's 1999 Car of the Year, Chrysler 300M. For the best drives, see your participating Tucson Chrysler Plymouth Jeep dealer today. Old Tucson Studios. Come on, experience the Wild West with all new shows, lots of great food, rides for the kids, and entertainment for the whole family. So don't just sit there. We're calling you out. Old Tucson Studios, where legends come alive.
He's not gonna call. He said he'd call, he'll call. He said 7:30. It's almost 8. He's a boy, remember?
Has your computer put your phone on hold? Get an additional line from Uswest before May 21st and save 50% on line installation.
I'll call. Dad, you have no idea what you're doing to my social life.
Get an additional line from US West. Another reason life's better here.
Chopper 13, only on KOLD TV 13.
President Clinton and NATO poured on against the Serb Milosevic regime. In Albania, refugees from Kosovo reached for a share of what little food there is for them. An envoy from Cyprus heads to Belgrade, trying to secure release of the captured U.S. soldiers. And Americans keep on trucking, driving new car sales to record highs.
This is the CBS Evening News. With Dan Rather reporting from CBS News headquarters in New York.
Good evening. Bombs are rocking Belgrade tonight. another night of heavy NATO airstrikes against the forces of Slobodan Milosevic. This is happening even as moves are underway to free 3 captured Americans. Here's the latest. U.S.-led NATO forces are hitting more targets in Belgrade and inside Kosovo, including Serbian tanks and troops. Milosevic's forces have suddenly blocked the exit routes from Kosovo, creating more refugee chaos and forcing some refugees to try to return home. Cyprus is now acting as a go-between, trying to arrange a handover of the U.S. soldier captives. From the Yugoslav capital of Belgrade, Tom Clark of Canadian TV News begins our report.
NATO bombs have found their mark in central Belgrade tonight. Authorities report that there have been at least 3 hits in the downtown area, and we understand that the hits are on a building which the Serbs are describing as a civilian building that is beside the main army headquarters. We are being told that there are no victims at this moment, but the number of wounded is undetermined. Serb TV is also reporting at this moment that there are a number of NATO warplanes flying low over central Belgrade and are urging everybody to stay indoors or in their shelters. But what Serb TV has been showing all day is the destruction in Pristina, which is the capital city of Kosovo. Attacks went in last night, and one of the main targets was the main post office, and eyewitnesses that we have spoken to in Pristina says that the downtown area of Pristina lies in rubble tonight.
Tom Clark of Canadian Television reporting for CBS News from Belgrade. U.S. military officials say an unmanned U.S. Army reconnaissance plane crashed in Yugoslavia today. The twin-engine drone, called a Hunter, takes video images of the battleground. Once again, it was unmanned. No word on why it went down. On the island of Cyprus, a former president and now parliament speaker got on a plane today saying he was close to arranging the release of the 3 U.S. soldiers seized by Serbia last week and hoped to be in Belgrade tomorrow to seal the deal. The 3 Army men were ambushed and captured while patrolling the Macedonian border with Kosovo. When told about the possible release, one POW relative put it this way: "I'll believe it when I see it." Those are the exact same sentiments today from President Clinton on down. CBS News White House correspondent Bill Plant has more on that part of the story. Bill?
Well, Dan, that's right. The Yugoslav government has told the White House, that is, I should say, the Cyprus government has told the White House that it expects the Yugoslavs to release those 3 men tomorrow. But a senior official told CBS News the big question is whether Milosevic will actually put these guys on a plane. "We want them back," said the official, but he made it clear that their return will not end the bombing. President Clinton repeated NATO's conditions for peace.
We are determined to stay united and to persist until we prevail. It is not enough now for Mr. Milosevic to say that his forces will cease fire in Kosovo, denied its freedom and devoid of its people. He must withdraw his forces, let the refugees return, permit the deployment of an international security force.
But there is continuing skepticism that NATO will ever be able to achieve those goals without ground troops. Some of the allies say they're going to bring up the question of ground forces when the NATO foreign ministers meet on Monday in Brussels. But that is definitely not on the U.S. agenda. Dan?
Bill Plant at the White House. In the war, Milosevic has spokesmen saying at least 10 people were killed in a NATO airstrike on the center of Kosovo's main city. No confirmation of that from NATO. CBS's David Martin has the latest in the Pentagon.
This is what the capital of Kosovo looks like after 2 weeks of ethnic cleansing and bombing. It is not clear whether the Serb army or NATO bombs caused this inferno. But whatever the cause, the U.S. says it will hold Serb commanders responsible for war crimes.
There are killings, there are beatings, there are forced marches, there's deprivation of the essentials of life, such as food, water, shelter, reports of massacres, reports of rapes.
Good weather allowed NATO aircraft to again hit targets throughout Yugoslavia, and for the first time to send A-10 tank killers and aircraft armed with cluster bombs against Serb troops in the field.
This was our first major breakthrough against armored forces in the field. We were able to locate and attack several units. In one attack, we were able to drop weapons on a column of between 7 and 12 vehicles.
2 weeks of attacks on oil refineries and fuel depots are finally causing at least some Serb units to run low on fuel. But the Serb army is not giving up, just changing tactics.
What we're seeing is perhaps a hunkering down of those forces
Long lines of refugees suddenly disappeared from border crossings as the Serbs ordered them back into Kosovo. Why is not clear, but it will have the effect of giving the army civilians to hide behind.
But the battle is far from over. Good weather is not expected to last. Anti-aircraft fire is actually getting heavier, and the NATO commander is asking the Pentagon to send him still more warplanes. David Martin, CBS News, the Pentagon.
There were dramatic changes today in the Balkan refugee crisis. In Kosovo, Serbian forces suddenly reversed tactics. They closed the border and told thousands of refugees trying to leave the country now to go back home. In neighboring Macedonia, government forces emptied that huge field of desperate refugees, but without telling them where they were going. Tonight, it is still not clear where thousands of them are going. CBS's Alan Pizzi reports from the tense and chaotic border.
The end came unexpectedly and in the dead of night. In a matter of hours, tens of thousands of ethnic Albanian refugees were hauled out of the filthy camp at the border and driven away. Only a handful of the old and the weak were left in the medical tent. They had been brought in by relatives who were then forced to leave. I can't walk, the old woman says. The valley that held tens of thousands is now a stinking landscape of sodden blankets, empty plastic shelters, and possessions that once seemed worthy of a mighty struggle to keep, abandoned. The lucky ones ended up in the tent city run by the UN Relief Agency. Here, they are given a choice about where they want to go. This line is for flights to Germany. We would like to go to Kosovo, Hasima Batia says, but that's not possible, so we'll accept this. That's a theme echoed by every refugee here and the U.S. ambassador who came for a look.
This has got to be a temporary deal. We've got to get into Kosovo. We've got to, get the Yugoslav army out, a NATO-led force in, and then get these people home.
But if you spend a week in a filthy refugee camp, getting clean takes precedence over almost everything. Although a shower in cold water in public isn't to everyone's taste. There are 20,000 people in the UN camp, and the haphazard evacuation of the camp at the border tore families apart. Nasser Gerdovci was looking for his wife, 2 daughters, mother, and sister.
Now, without family, it's like strangers in the dark, looking for something you don't have hope to find them.
Many will take months to be reunited, and some may never be. What worries relief officials now is that thousands of ethnic Albanians who are trapped on the Kosovo side of this border have disappeared. All indications are that the Serbs have forced them to return to the homes they drove them out of. And in an eerie warning that this camp could fill again, several hundred refugees wandered in along the railway line. The Macedonians sent them back. No more refugees need apply. Alan Pizzi, CBS News, on the Kosovo-Macedonia border.
Milosevic's military and paramilitary forces also sealed off the border crossings from Kosovo to Albania, but that didn't stop the influx of refugees into Europe's poorest country. Thousands of refugees who were in Macedonia were taken across that border and dumped in Albania, adding to the crisis there. CBS's Mark Phillips is on the scene.
A desperate situation here is about to get worse. Too many refugees and too little food. The Albanians are trying to move these people away from the northern border areas where they've gathered. But the problem, like the people, is about to move. At least 10,000 of the Kosovo refugees who've been stuck on the border with Macedonia were today transported into the rough mountain country of southeastern Albania. They'll find company. The impoverished towns in that region, like Elbasan, are already overrun with refugees, taxing local resources to the breaking point. Almost no foreign aid has reached this remote area. Local government officials say their needs are basic.
What do you need to help these people?
We need everything. We need mattress, blanket, food, and clothes.
Some food is arriving, and French helicopters are already flying rations north out of Tirana Airport. But the demand is growing faster than the supply. And the children who have been through so much have so far received very little.
Even as the refugee numbers grow, the challenge now is how to keep a disaster from turning into a catastrophe. Emergency shelter and rations can keep people alive in the short term, But this is now a long-term problem, and people who fled with nothing basically need everything.
Especially food that is finally getting to some of those who so desperately need it, but not all. Mark Phillips, CBS News, Toronto.
Coming up next on tonight's CBS Evening News, Detroit races to keep up with surging demand for new cars. Attention teen smokers, the health damage may already be done even if you quit later. And the man NATO may have underestimated. A closer look at Slobodan Milosevic.
The Mitsubishi Eclipse GS Sports Package. Guaranteed attention, available now.
Overactive bladder.
Those strong, sudden urges. Going to the bathroom so often. Wedding accidents.
Discover prescription Detrol. Detrol is proven effective to treat overactive bladder. Detrol reduced bathroom visits by 2.2 times in 24 hours versus 1.1 times with a sugar pill.
Stay a little longer?
Love to.
1.2 fewer wedding accidents occurred with Detrol versus 0.8 fewer with a sugar pill. Similar decreases over 24 hours. Do not take Detrol if you have certain types of stomach, urinary, or glaucoma problems. The most common side effect is dry mouth at 39.5% for Detrol versus 15.9% for sugar pill. Common but less frequent ones may include dry eyes, headache, constipation, and indigestion.
Head back?
Not right now.
For more product information, call us or ask your doctor about prescription Detrol. Proven effective to treat overactive bladder.
Glad I asked my doctor about Detrol.
More now about the crisis over Kosovo. A CBS News New York Times poll out tonight suggests U.S. public support for the U.S. and NATO military action in Yugoslavia is growing. Almost 6 out of 10 now favor the Allied airstrikes. That's up from 5 out of 10 just a week ago. 3/4 now think the U.S. will eventually send in ground troops, compared to 2/3 a week ago. And the number who think the U.S. should send in ground troops is also up from 1 week ago. U.S. officials now acknowledge they guessed wrong in thinking that Slobodan Milosevic might back down under the threat of NATO bombing. 2 weeks after the bombing started, they're trying to take a new reading on the Serbian leader's intentions. But as CBS's Eric Ingberg reports, with Milosevic, the picture is always murky.
In seeking to assess whether the NATO bombing campaign has finally shaken Yugoslav leader Slobodan Milosevic into altering his murderous course, U.S. officials confront a troubling record. He has clearly outmaneuvered them in the early going of the war, and he is a man lacking any scruples beyond his own survival. Former U.S. Ambassador to Croatia, Peter Galbraith, came to know him well during the Dayton peace talks.
Milosevic's sole goal is to stay in power, and he doesn't care at all what the impact is on his own people or on anybody else.
He can be dealt with, diplomats say, only by understanding a strange personal history and a duplicitous rise to power. Child of a family so dysfunctional both parents committed suicide, the young Milosevic met and married the daughter of a top communist, Mira Markovic. Together, they plotted his rise, first to leading banker, then to trusty number 2 leader. Milosevic seized power 10 years ago by double-crossing his then boss, who had been his good friend and mentor. The issue was Serb nationalism, the place, Kosovo. Those two have remained crucial to his hold on power, a connection the U.S. may have failed to grasp.
We don't like foreign military presence here in Yugoslavia.
Milosevic speaks English, including lively profanities. He's a skilled, unpredictable bargainer.
He's smart, witty, can be charming, and completely cold-blooded in pursuit of his own personal interest.
Whatever happens next, Mira Markovic, capable of as much brutality as her husband, will be a key player. They are known to their people as Slobo and Mira. He rarely consults advisors except her. In all, the U.S. and NATO now know they face a tyrant, but a supremely Machiavellian tyrant who will pull back from conflict if he's already achieved his goal, as he has come close to doing in Kosovo. Eric Engberg, CBS News, Washington.
Straight ahead on tonight's CBS Evening News, the long-lasting health threat to young smokers, even those who kick the habit later.
Try to remember now. Where to look for a ginkgo biloba to help aid memory. Nature's Resource knows you should look for one with terpenes and flavone glycosides for memory help. And unlike some, Nature's Resource guarantees the potency and purity you need. Make your herbal resource Nature's Resource. Follow knowledge.
If it's real chicken your dog wants, it's Prime you want. Because high-quality chicken is the primary ingredient in Pedigree Prime.
To develop the most advanced Bengay ever, we combined 3 pain relievers for the first Crygesic formula. Ultra Strength Bengay. It heats, penetrates, relieves to help set you free. Ultra Strength Bengay.
Pacific from Honda. What about now?
Could a merger within the Pima County government boost budget spending? I'm Randy Garcia at 6. Find out how it could affect your pocketbook.
New research in the Journal of the National Cancer Institute is making news by putting a whole new twist on the old advice that the best time to quit smoking is don't ever start. CBS's John Roberts reports why these may be crucial words to live by, especially for smokers who start young.
For years, it's been thought that the damage caused by smoking was directly related to how long people smoke. But in today's study, Dr. John Winke found it's not how long, but when they started.
It would suggest that there probably are a lot of folks who have extensive damage in their lungs even after they quit smoking, if they started to smoke when they were very young. We think this is really what starts the whole cancer process.
Specifically, Winke looked at genetic evidence, damage done to the DNA of ex-smokers who developed lung cancer. In patients who'd started smoking as teens, that damage was greater than those who'd started later in life.
We think they may be more sensitive to the toxic and carcinogenic effects of tobacco smoke at that time.
I need a cigarette. Will you give it to me?
So stopping teens from ever starting is more important than ever.
Have you seen Tomorrow Man?
Creative ad campaigns have dramatically reduced teen smoking in some states.
He passed away some time ago.
He's dead? And the Centers for Disease Control believes that nationally we may be turning the corner on a decade of rising rates. But researchers believe among a huge group of Americans the damage is done, even if they got the message about the dangers of tobacco.
The majority of people who get lung cancer are ex-smokers, and we're really trying to understand that. It's clear that one of the things that keeps you at risk is if you start at an early age.
And today's study presents a new challenge to identify those ex-smokers most at risk and find ways to aggressively intervene before they develop cancer. Dan?
John Roberts, thanks. Coming up next here on CBS, a hard news report about the economy and American automobile buying.
Life's an adventure because you're over 50 and still exploring. So take the Centrum made just for you, Centrum Silver, with age-essential nutrients specially adjusted to keep pace with your changing nutritional needs. Centrum Silver, it's a great time to be silver.
You're on Love Matters. When love matters, I'm here to help. Dave?
Yeah, I'm having this problem with my girlfriend. It's kind of involved.
Diarrhea. Get it, and you want it gone.
You're a really good listener, you know.
He needs Imodium AD.
Imodium Advanced. It's even better.
Only Imodium Advanced relieves diarrhea plus cramps and bloating by combining 2 medicines, and it's even faster than Imodium AD.
So was I right to invite my mom along on my honeymoon?
Oh, Dave, absolutely.
Imodium Advanced. Faster relief you can count on.
It's April. Can showers be very far behind? Remember to protect your deck with Thompson's Wood Protector. Rain, sun, mildew. Nothing we make works harder, longer, so nothing can rain on your parade. Thompson's Wood Protector. It never takes a day off.
All right, kid. Here we go. What do you got? What do you got? Yeah. All right, come on.
What would you do if someone you loved had a heart attack? Did you know it's now been proven that the same Bare aspirin you have in your bag for muscle aches may actually help stop you from dying if you take it during a heart attack?
Downtown. Lucky shot.
Can your pain reliever do that? Talk to your doctor now.
Next time I'll go easier on you.
Bare, powerful pain relief and so much more.
Based on reactions so far, we're so sure you'll love Kellogg's Nutri-Grain Twist bars, we'll give you your money back if you don't. Just send the bottom panel with the UPC barcode for a full refund. Guaranteed. How's that for a twist? Kellogg's Nutri-Grain Twists. Like them. You'll try them for your money back.
Will there be justice for John Bonet? New details from her parents. And now, charges of blackmail. A 48 hours investigation. Thursday.
The U.S. automobile industry can barely build cars fast enough to meet the demand of American consumers. Figures out today show sales hit an all-time high in the first 3 months of this year, with light trucks leading the way. CBS's Anthony Mason reports Detroit is on a roll.
You kind of got the wave of the future in there.
Detroit is playing show and tell at the New York Auto Show this week.
The Monte Carlo is the low-maintenance vehicle.
But the automakers don't have to sell. Americans can't stop buying.
Sales have never been this strong for the auto industry.
Industry analyst Scott Merlis of Wasserstein Perella.
The first quarter in auto sales was a very substantial positive surprise. They were off the charts. We're in uncharted territory. We have an all-time record.
The experts predicted a 5% rise over last year's record first quarter sales, but they've more than doubled that.
For Detroit, the news is all good. The automakers are not only selling a record number of vehicles, but their biggest sales increases are also coming in their most profitable models.
Ford's light truck sales, for instance, including sport utility vehicles, are up 20% this year.
SUVs and pickup trucks are 100% more profitable, at least, relative to cars. And that is what's selling. That is what's creating these record sales.
Some analysts say this can't keep up, that consumers can only buy so many cars. But Detroit is upping production and introducing new models.
To the all-new Thunderbird for the year 2001.
Betting America's love affair with the automobile will keep burning. Anthony Mason, CBS News, New York.
On the CBS Worldwide Market Watch, a blue-chip buying spree today sent the Dow Industrials soaring 121 points to close at an all-time high of 10,085.
Whether you're working out, working hard, or making changes, one thing is for certain. Centrum has your nutrition needs covered. With Centrum, you benefit from what science is discovering about how vitamins and minerals help maintain health, unlock energy, and strengthen immunity. Centrum, always complete from A to Z. And Centrum Kids' great new taste is making a splash with new fruit flavors kids love.
Here they come. Surprise! I made your old favorite pepperoni.
I can't eat that now.
Oh, this can't be Charlie.
I didn't take my Pepsi. I gotta wait.
Then we all wait.
Take my Tagamet. You could eat now. Tagamet introduces a better way to avoid heartburn. Not before, not after, now. Now you can take Tagamet right when you're going to eat and still prevent heartburn.
Same old Charlie.
With Tagamet, you can eat like a kid again.
I can eat corn on the cob, and I can eat the apples, as long as I've got super polygrip on these dentures. I know that it works. I mean, it holds my teeth in place. Using the super polygrip, I can continue with auctioneering. Bid 35, now bid 40, now 5, 45, and bid.
Spectracide grass and weed killer works in 24 hours. The other brand takes a little longer. Actually, a lot longer. Spectracide works in hours, not days. That's why weeds can't hide from Spectracide.
Wait. You got more than me.
Honey Nut Quaker Toasted Oatmeal, crisp oatmeal flakes, clusters, and honey roasted almonds. You haven't wanted a cereal this badly since you were a kid.
Recapping our top story in tomorrow's headlines, Allied bombers are pounding Slobodan Milosevic's forces again tonight. At least 3 big explosions reported near the center of Yugoslavia's capital city, Belgrade. Joining us now, our CBS News military consultant, retired U.S. Air Force General Buster Clausen. General, now that NATO says it's beginning to have some real effect, not just on Milosevic's forces in Kosovo, but elsewhere, is this the kind of success you've been saying that the air campaign needs to be successful to win?
Well, it's certainly encouraging, Dan, to see the air campaign moving in the right direction, but they still have a long way to go. The number one problem are the NATO restrictions, both political and military. For example, we're 15 days into the campaign, and we're only averaging 100 attack sorties per day. For comparison, during the Gulf War, we averaged 1,500 per day. In Serbia, we're not attacking facilities and structures that are leadership-related because we're afraid of civilian casualties. A legitimate concern, but not one that should tie our hands. In Kosovo, we're predominantly attacking assembly and supply areas instead of the individual tanks, troops, and artillery. Again, out of concern for fighter pilot losses and a legitimate concern. But to this point, Dan, I must admit, the NATO air campaign has been very timid.
Given you believe that the campaign has been timid despite what was said today, what do they need to do from here on out?
First, they got to remove the NATO restrictions that were self-imposed. And that will require us to take more risk, be more aggressive, and certainly that will put more fighter pilots in harm's way. But that's a risk that we must be willing to take, and that's a difficult one, and I know, I've been there, but it's also one that if we don't take, as Americans, we will not be proud of the end result.
General Buster Clausen, thanks. And that's part of our world tonight. I'll be back later here on CBS with 60 Minutes 2.
Viva Serbia!
What drives Yugoslavia's president, and why is he defying NATO over Kosovo? Bob Simon's unauthorized biography of Slobodan Milosevic. And a 60 Minutes classic with Mike Wallace, The Deadliest Prison. 60 Minutes 2, that's tonight at 9, 8 Central Time, here on the CBS Television Network. We hope you'll make an appointment to see it. Until then, Dan Rather reporting for the CBS Evening News. Have a good evening.
For news 24 hours a day, CBS.com on the Internet and on our interactive partner, America Online, at keyword CBS News.
Bombing suspect Eric Rudolph, America's most wanted man. That you know. Tomorrow, what you don't know about him. Eye on America on the CBS Evening News with Dan Rather. Experience you can trust. CBS News. Coming up next on News 13.
3 agencies joining forces in Pima County, but how will it affect your pocketbook?
Troops from Fort Huachuca head over to the Middle East, but will they be involved in the Kosovo crisis?
And we'll tell you how you can help refugees in Kosovo. Good evening, everyone. I'm Randy Garcia.
I'm Mindy Blake. Chris has the evening off. News 13 at 6 starts now.
This is News 13 at 6.
A new alliance was born in Pima County this morning, but could it become a political guerrilla putting its hand in your pocketbook? The new alliance consists of the county sheriff, county attorney, and presiding judge.
3 agencies that spend $129 million in taxpayer money every year. This morning, the 3 agency heads announced they are joining forces. Each told an invited audience they don't have enough money to perform their duties, and as a result, public safety is in jeopardy. Now, some people feel the alliance is a concerted effort to push for the half-cent sales tax. The tax proposal has generated a considerable amount of controversy, much of it aimed at Supervisor Ray Carroll. Carroll alone has kept the half-cent sales tax from being passed here. Last week, county administrators sent a proposal to the state that would keep Carroll out of the half-cent tax vote. A lot of controversy for Pima County supervisors lately. Bud Foster was at the meeting where the alliance was held, and Bud, what's the reaction?
Well, it depends on what side of the fence you're sitting on. If you support the tax, then you would have to believe that the alliance
will go a long ways in convincing the general public that the half-cent sales tax idea is a good idea. Carroll himself says he won't budge. However, he does believe that it will improve accountability. He says if each of those three agencies will tell him where they spend every penny of their $129 million budgets, well, then maybe they can talk. One by one, Sheriff Clarence Dubnik, County Attorney Barbara Lawal, and Presiding Judge Gordon Alley told a crowd of invited guests how public safety is jeopardized without adequate funding and why cuts could make it worse.
I've yet to see that person come forth that says, here's $20 million that we can cut out, and it's just fat. It won't really have any impact on services. Well, I'm telling you, that's nonsense.
Which is where the half-cent sales tax comes in. Raise money rather than cut. However, the Alliance will not come out in favor of the half-cent sales tax as a group, but individually.
You may recall, it was my suggestion, I think back in May of last year, that the board consider a half-cent sales tax.
Carroll feels the Alliance has taken dead aim at him, since he alone stands in the way of the half-cent sales tax. But Carroll makes no apologies for his no vote.
This conversation wouldn't be happening without that vote. This whole process, although it's not pretty, it is healthy.
But health care could come out the loser. With the current financial crisis, Keno Hospital and other medical services are in direct competition with public safety for taxpayer money, causing Keno to ask how to maintain the same level of care with dwindling funds.
We've all done our budget cuts. We're down to the bare bones minimum now. The question is how to generate more revenue into the fund, general fund.
And the Alliance, which calls itself the Pima County Public Safety Alliance, will present a super budget, sort of a super budget, to the Pima County Board of Supervisors in June. And just this afternoon, the Pima County Administrator Chuck Huckleberry released this memo saying that he supports the Alliance, but then again, Mindy, he is the biggest proponent of that half-cent sales tax.
And we're going to hear a lot more about this, too.
Yes, we will.
All right. Thank you, Bud. Tucson police are looking for a suspect in an early morning murder. Here's where it happened, in the 5900 block of South 6th Avenue. When police officers arrived on the scene, they found a man dead on the floor. That man has been identified as 62-year-old Santiago Rios. He was stabbed. A fire that started in the attic of the Pants Palace clothing store in South 6th Avenue early today is to blame for a $500,000 fire. Investigators say it was caused by an electrical short. It took nearly 40 firefighters more than an hour to put it out. Authorities are doing everything they can to get thousands and thousands of refugees out of border camps and into safety in Macedonia. That and strong words from the United States to Slobodan Milosevic.
We will reject any settlement that freezes the result of Milosevic's genocide and rewards him for his brutality. Milosevic must stop the killing. He must withdraw his forces. He must agree to democratic self-government in Kosovo and accept an international peacekeeping force under NATO's leadership.
About one-third of missing Albanian refugees have been relocated to the town of Kors, Albania. The refugees were missing last night near the town of Blaise, Macedonia, but before sunrise today, Macedonian authorities quickly bust the refugees away. They bust the refugees away so quickly, some were separated from their families. If you want to help the refugees in Kosovo, here's how. You can send money to the Red Cross Southern Arizona chapter, 4601 East Broadway. Zip code is 85711. You can also send money to the Salvation Army World Services Office. That's box 269, Alexandria, Virginia, 22313. The Jewish Community Relations Council is also accepting donations. Mail it to 3822 East River Road here in Tucson. Zip code is 85718. And the Tucson Relief Network is accepting blankets and clothing. You can see some of your generous donations here already. If you want to drop off items, head over to 320 South Wilmot Road. You can also send a check to TRN, box 64001 in Tucson, zip code 85728. You must designate where the donations will go: Kosovo, Albania, or TRN, the Tucson Relief Network. While Kosovo gets most of our attention these days, there are troops from southern Arizona headed to other places. A group of 20 soldiers from the Army's 11th Signal Brigade are headed to the tiny country of Qatar in the Middle East. While the Army says these troops will stay out of Kosovo, their trip still means months of separation from families. Jim Becker spent the day at Fort Huachuca and has this report.
It's been 6 months in the planning, and despite the situation in Eastern Europe, the Army is going ahead with the deployment to the Middle East.
We ask for your divine protection upon each soldier and trust in you.
We are the brigade of choice. I want to tell you that. This is the brigade of choice, and you need to feel proud about that.
After prayers from the chaplain and words of encouragement from commanding officers, the 20 members of the 11th Signal Brigade say goodbye to their families.
It's kind of hard. I just got back 4 months ago from Korea, but she was ex-military, so she knows the deal. She's ready for me to go, get the mission done, and come back.
Sergeant Lipscomb leaves behind his wife and 5-year-old son, and even though they've separated before, it doesn't get any easier.
Especially when they just come back and then leave again. But what can we do? I understand it's called duty, but, you know, it doesn't make it any easier.
It's never easy for families to be separated for a couple of months, but it's no small consolation that these troops won't be going to a hostile area.
Families didn't have to separate until the last minute this time. Usually they'd leave Fort Huachuca a day earlier for Davis Mountain Air Force Base in Tucson. But the Kosovo crisis has tied up air traffic, so troops are flying out directly from the Army's Libby airfield. They're scheduled to be back in the U.S. in just a couple of months. At Fort Huachuca, Jim Becker, News 13.
One Army spokesman says if the crisis in Kosovo worsens, there are units already in Europe that will be sent to the area before anyone deployed in the Middle East is moved.
The section of pipe that replaces the one damaged in February's water main break in Tucson was delivered today. The damaged pipe sent 38 million gallons of water into a West Side neighborhood. This morning, the new pipe arrived in Tucson. Crews first worked on the end of the pipe, then moved to the middle later in the afternoon. We're told the water main should be completely repaired by the end of the month. No doubt you've noticed the higher gas prices at the pump, but how much? Across Arizona, gas prices are up about 30 cents a gallon. If you want to boycott the station, some drivers have an idea. They're considering a gas-out day. That's when they refuse to buy gas for one day. That idea seems to be spreading across the country.
Another idea would be just to put a sail on your vehicle, because with the wind we've been having, you don't need gas, right, Tom Johnson?
It's true. Just push the car along.
Exactly.
The wind showed up on time today. The cold air is really late, starting to filter in now, and clouds basically never showed up, although we can see some on the northwestern side of the sky right now, but it looks like those clouds and associated precipitation will stay to the north and west. Tonight's low 40 under mostly clear conditions. Tomorrow, highs in the 70s again with mostly sunny skies expected. Your 7 days coming up.
Okay.
All right. Just one day away from this year's Pima County Fair, and some of the finishing touches were put on today. This year's fair will last until the 18th of April. As usual, lots of games, rides, music, and fun for the whole family. Tomorrow night, gates open at 6 o'clock.
Coming up next on News 13.
They're back to work today in Phoenix after an anthrax scare yesterday.
We'll tell you why former President George Bush is visiting Tucson tonight.
And in sports, put obstacles in front of these canines and they'll find a doggone way around it or through it.
Closed captioning for KOLD News 13 is brought to you by the Robert Trent Jones Golf Trail of Alabama.
Clouds go. We send Bobo to 54 Roosevelt Road? No, 54 Rosemont Road.
Got the wrong address.
Who is this clown?
Next time, dial 411 from Uswest. One more reason life's better here.
Tonight on 60 Minutes 2, if you want to know why U.S. forces are bombing Kosovo, you're looking at him. You'll get an even closer look tonight. Then, it's love, sex, and the miracle of birth. What attracts us to each other?
You like brunettes and I like blondes.
Why do we fall in love? Images never before captured on tape and controversial new revelations on human sexuality.
Your body like you've never seen it before.
Love, sex, and birth. CBS tonight.
The K-Hit 107.5 $300 three-play of the day. It's as easy to win as 1, 2, 3.
Listen to us, Bobby and Wendy, weekday mornings at 8:20.
We'll tell you the 3 classic hits to listen for between 8 a.m. and 5 p.m.
And at 8:20 only, we're going to tell you the exact hour of the 3-play.
When you hear the 3 classic hits played in order, the 3-play, be caller 3 at 880-K-HIT.
Come on, somebody's going to win $300 tomorrow.
And $1,000 on Thursday.
Why not you?
The $300 3-play of the day on Classic Hits, K-Hit 107.5.
It's coming. You know it's going to be here soon.
95, 100, 110.
Degree heat.
Don't let summer sneak up on you. Call Cummings Plumbing, Heating, and Cooling today and get your home ready for another hot Arizona summer. Servicing your air conditioner and swamp cooler now is insurance for cool, comfortable days in your home when the thermometer starts creeping up outside.
For all your air conditioning and swamp cooling needs, call Cummings Plumbing, Heating, and Cooling.
Today, I spent my time among the stars, exchanging autographs, seeing all the latest live shows, mingling with the performers, photographers at every turn. Today, my whole world was filled with magic. Tomorrow, it'll all come out in my book.
Come to a land that's alive with magic. Disneyland. Call 1-714-520-MICKEY for special family packages to the happiest place on earth.
Cut the green? No. Maybe cut the yellow?
Hold on. Need a third opinion? Instant three-way calling's on your line. Just click, dial, click.
Cut the blue. Or is it the red?
Instant three-way calling from Uswest. One more reason life's better here.
A scare for employees of a Maricopa County government office.
They returned to work today, and that tops a look at our news around Arizona. After an anthrax scare at a Maricopa County building yesterday, employees went back to work today. The building houses the county probation department. Officials say a caller said the building was contaminated with anthrax. Phoenix fire officials say that wasn't the case. Martin Roberto Raquillo Rojas will plead guilty to drug charges. He was one of 4 INS inspectors indicted earlier this year on drug corruption charges. We're also told Rafael Landa pled guilty last month to conspiring to import cocaine. And French daredevil Philippe Petit. Is that Philippe Petit?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, Mindy speaks French, so that's why I have to ask her about this one. Well, he has a plan to walk on a tight wire across a portion of the Grand Canyon, and that's after Robbie Knievel plans to jump his motorcycle over a portion of the canyon. Petit will walk on a 400-yard tightrope on the lower Colorado River Gorge.
Just because it's there. Well, he spoke in Phoenix earlier today. We're talking about former President George Bush, and he will be in Tucson at the DoubleTree Hotel tonight. He's in Tucson to support Senator John Kyle's re-election campaign. He's also raised an estimated $250,000 in Phoenix for a possible presidential bid by his son. Tonight on News 13 at 10, we'll hear from Bush.
Our reporter Valerie Cavazos called in. She said when Bush started talking tonight, he said, I'm not going to talk about Kosovo. Then went on to talk about Kosovo. So
right.
We'll have his comments tonight at 10
o'clock. Got to be on his mind. He probably gets a lot of people asking him about it.
I'm sure he does. Well, don't go away. Your weather is up next.
But first, a big gain for the Dow. Here's a look at the numbers.
Hi, Bobby and Brad from 94.9 Mix FM with the $30,000 money song.
Listen to 94.9 Mix FM tomorrow morning at 7:10 for the song of the day.
You'll have 3 chances to win $500.
The $30,000 money song from 94.9 Mix FM.
At Lazy Boy Furniture Galleries, we help you pick what's perfect in ways that go. And that's how we wind up furnishing satisfaction.
Bring it down. Lower. Lower. Oh, okay. Enough with the prices. Let's start on the building.
The Lazy Boy Furniture Gallery's remodeling sale. Drastically lowered prices on all in-stock merchandise. Hurry in before we're cleared out.
When most eyeglass stores say they have glasses for $64, they're forgetting something important. Like the lenses, those cost extra. But at Vista Optical, $64 buys you the frame and lenses. And Vista has over 400 high-quality, fashionable frames to choose from, all for $64. So if it's real value you're looking for, you'll find it at Vista. Call today for an eye exam with our independent doctors of optometry.
Why is that woman staring at me? Oh, she's probably not. Why am I so paranoid?
I can't believe I said that. That's something my father would say. Great, I'm turning in my father. Unbelievable.
Look, somebody left a cardboard box. Oh, that'd make a cool fort. Or a tank. Yeah, a tank.
When was the last time you went to Baskin-Robbins? Come on in for 2 scoops of your favorite flavors, smothered in hot fudge, whipped cream, and topped with a cherry. The $1.99 2-scoop sundae at Baskin-Robbins. Happiness served daily.
Hi, Bobby and Brad from 94.9 Mix FM with the $30,000 money song.
Listen to 94.9 Mix FM tomorrow morning at 7:10 for the song of the day.
You'll have 3 chances to win $500.
The $30,000 money song from 94.9 Mix FM.
Now, here's Chief Meteorologist Tom Johnston's weather forecast.
Look at the scene in San Diego, California today as the rain was coming down for the 2nd day in a row. Didn't really pan out for us, but check out the hail coming down. Hail is the subject of Tom's weather test today. What determines the size of those hailstones you just saw in San Diego? Is it A, the speed of the updrafts in the hailstorm, B, the amount of moisture in the thunderstorm, or is it C, the altitude of the ground? The answer and an explanation coming up. 7-day forecast showing we don't have to worry about any of that kind of weather. It looks like sunshine for most of the 7-day forecast, and looking for a warming trend. We dipped down a little bit on Friday as the system moves to our north, but overall, a warming trend into the weekend with 80s expected for Saturday and Sunday. Right now, 64 degrees with partly cloudy skies in Tucson, relative humidity at 23%. Winds the big story, southwesterly at 18, gusting to 29 miles per hour. We had a lot of gusts above 40 miles per hour across southern Arizona today. 47 the morning low, 75 the afternoon high. Averages are 49 and 79, and records are 30 and 99. Sneeze scale 7 out of 10, bumped up a little bit because of dust and pollen. Switching over to moderate, it was low. Plant parts remain very high, so a fairly healthy sneeze scale today. Now, the southwestern Doppler radar last 4 hours, it shows all the moisture. There is moisture out there, folks, from around Casa Grande, north to the east side of Phoenix, and then up to Flagstaff and Winslow, where snow has been falling, especially in Flagstaff. They could see 4 to 8 inches as this area of low pressure does move off to the north. Do we have that tower cam? I was hoping for that because it is showing that we can see this cloud line right here to the northwest of Tucson. If you look closely, you may see a few drops coming down from those clouds. That is a live picture of tower cam. Thank you very much, you guys in the control room. We'll take you back to the maps to show you that most of that activity is moving off to the north because that area of low pressure is pulling north. It's going to take the snow, the hail, the rain with it. The main event for us today, obviously, was the wind. And again, just another confirmation that it is pulling off to the north. Another system will cool us down on Friday, but it won't bring any precipitation, so it looks like a dry forecast. 37 in Safford and Benson tonight, freezing or near there for Douglas and Bisbee. Highs tomorrow are going to be in the 70s and some 60s out there with some breezy conditions. Pretty much dry across the rest of the country. You can see the moisture streaming into the central plains along the jet stream, but overall it's dry with high pressure in control, little area of low pressure in northern Michigan. But springtime across the two-thirds, the eastern two-thirds of the nation. 70s for Kansas City, Dallas, Mobile, Alabama, Atlanta. 31 in Wilcox tonight. A little chilly out there. We're feeling the cold air coming in. 21 up to 48 tomorrow in Greer. 71 for our good friends in Sierra Vista. 75 for Green Valley. 72 Nogi. And the high country will see 50s for Thursday. A few evening clouds with the winds diminishing tonight. Overnight low of 40, but a lot of areas seeing some 30s tonight. And then mostly sunny skies breaking out tomorrow, a high of 75. Tomorrow night, clear skies, 41. And just a bit cooler for Friday, but really no big deal because we rebound into the 80s for Saturday and Sunday. What determines the size of hailstones? Yeah, you're right, it is A, the speed of updrafts in the hailstone. It takes strong updrafts to return hailstones to freezing altitudes where they grow until they become too heavy to stay aloft. It takes a 40-mile-per-hour updraft to form marble-sized hail, I should say. 70-mile updrafts to form golf ball-sized hail, and 115-mile-per-hour updrafts for softball-sized hail. So it all depends on the updraft.
All
There's
right.
your answer.
Yeah, hopefully we won't have any golf balls.
No, not going to happen here.
Thanks, Tom. The 1999 Major League Baseball season has begun, bringing in lots of fans and money for teams and players. Who are the highest paid players? Well, here's a look. This is big money baseball. This season, the New York Yankees had the highest average salary, more than $3 million. Who are the highest paid players in each position? Outfielder Albert Bell makes almost $12 million. Also owns a house here in Tucson.
Yeah.
Pitcher Pedro Martinez makes $11 million. Outfielders Gary Sheffield, Bernie Williams each make more than $9 million. First baseman Mark McGuire makes more than $8 million.
That's incredible. How much do we pay for tickets?
Exactly.
We'll be right back with sports.
We're told by our customers and our lenders that the biggest single reason is the car quits running, or it needs massive amounts of repair work. That's why at Offnet Motors, most of the vehicles that we sell are 95s through 98s, most of them still under factory warranty.
Just the other day, I sold a 97 Suzuki Sidekick 4x4 with 1,100 miles, and I could extend the warranty up to 80,000 miles.
That's why at Offnet Motors, all we want our customers to have to worry about is gas and the oil change.
Broadcast so much more. It's the Ross $14.99 swimwear collection. Save up to 75% on the summer's hottest styles.
Do you love it? I love it. I got it at Ross.
The Ross $14.99 swimwear collection. Don't you just love it?
Get off the couch and out of the house. Take off in a Ford Taurus with $500 cash back plus 0.9% financing. Or get away in a new Windstar with $1,000 cash back or 0.9% APR. Make a break for the deals going on now at Jim Click Ford and Holmes Tuttle Ford.
This summer, you can take your family on vacation in this luxury sport utility vehicle for $760 a month. Or this, a new 1999 Tioga by Fleetwood, America's family favorite for only $317 a month. This summer, enjoy your family vacation in your new home away from home. Beaudry RV, making summertime fun since 1972. Here's all your scores and highlights from News 13 Sports Director Steve Quinn.
A second gut-wrenching, heartbreaking loss was suffered by the Diamondbacks at the hands of the Dodgers last night in L.A. Game tied at 2. Dodgers half of the 10th. Reliever Brian Anderson delivers one to Gary Sheffield. He turns on it. It leaves the ballpark in a hurry. For the second straight day, the Dodgers would use an extra-inning home run to beat the Diamondbacks. 3-2 was last night's final. The two teams will wrap up the series tonight in L.A. First pitch scheduled for 7:30. Baseball is back and in full swing. Can you feel the love? Doug and his wife-to-be Jennifer sure can. In Oakland, Yankees facing the A's this afternoon. Benson High School product Chad Curtis gets the Yankees out to a 3-0 lead when he clubs his second home run of the young season. Yankees go on to shut out the A's this afternoon by a final of 4-0. There was a pair of day games in the National League. The Giants improved to 3-0 after getting 7 runs in the 8th inning to beat the Reds, and the Expos were a run better than the Pirates. The quest for the green jacket begins tomorrow morning when the Masters tees off at Augusta National. There's been some changes to the course this year. 4 holes have had a makeover. The rough has grown by 1 3/8 inches. On 2 holes, the tee box has even been moved back 20 to 25 yards, making scoring a little more difficult unless you are, of course, a big hitter. Large pine trees have been added to some of the holes. The changes are sure to make things a little more interesting over the course of the next 4 days, but not everyone is happy about those changes.
I'm a bit of a nostalgic freak. I like to see golf courses stay because I like to compare my shot. What, somebody says, well, Snead was here one year and he hit an 8-iron. Now you really can't do that because there might be rough in that position. So I like to see the golf courses of old stand the test of time with the players.
The traditional Wednesday par 3 competition featured a pair of hole-in-ones. This is amateur Matt Kuchar, who was hospitalized during his practice round yesterday for fatigue while his ball hits the right part of the green, and it will roll right into the cup. Fuzzy Zeller had the day's only other ace. Duke assistant Quinn Snyder has been named to replace Norm Stewart as head basketball coach at Missouri. At 32 years old, Snyder is the youngest coach in the Big 12 Conference. And finally, have you ever thought about what it might be like to be the programming director at ESPN? Well, it sounds fun, but remember you have 168 hours a week to fill on each of your networks. So I came across this gem a few weeks back. This is action from the Incredible Dog Challenge broadcast on the original ESPN. This is actually pretty cool. Get a load of Secret. This 3-year-old border collie wasted its competition in the large dog agility obstacle course. Secret shattered the old course record. And coming up here in just a moment, we're even going to see that they had doggy long jumping. There it is. My personal favorite. Check your TV guide for a possible replay. Kind of cool, huh?
What kind of treats do they use? That's what I want to know.
I don't know.
That's right.
Thanks.
He's going all the way from Atlanta to Los Angeles.
And it's a good thing he's not in a hurry. After all, it's going to take him a little while to get there. See why. We'll be right back.
American Home Furnishings is your total home store with the Southwest's best selection of furniture and home products, all at everyday low prices. American has the best selection of leather furniture, including sofas, sofa sleepers, recliners, and sectionals, in a variety of styles and leather choices, including this 81-inch sofa, featuring top grain leather, pillow top, seat cushion, and stitch detail. At American, it's just $5.99 every day. Great values plus quick, easy financing. American Home Furnishings.
We asked Catherine and David Martin to lend us their answering machine and try the Uswest voice messaging service. Catherine was thrilled because now she can talk on the phone and still get messages. David was delighted because now he can get messages without worrying about broken tapes or muffled messages. So it's no surprise that when we tried to return their old machine, they didn't seem a bit interested. US West. Life's better here.
It's the biggest. It's the best. It's the Saba Spring Home and Patio Show at the Tucson Convention Center, April 8th through the 11th. With hundreds of exhibitors, see thousands of great ideas for your home and outdoor living. There's fun stuff for the entire family at this year's Saba Spring Home and Patio Show. Exhibits, displays, prizes, and more. It's the Saba 27th Annual Home and Patio Show at the TCC. Presented by the Southern Arizona Home Builders Association. See you there.
Oh, no, I want an orange flurry drink. Oh, make it two. And I'll take an extra long chili cheese pony. Hey, can you add some jalapenos on that?
You bet. At Sonic, America's Drive-In, our great menu's always full of surprises. Like offering 99-cent specials you can't get just anywhere. Try our Junior Double Cheeseburger, Crispy Cheese Tots, or our famous large cherry limeade, each just 99 cents.
Oh, there you go. Oh, thanks. You're terrific. Thanks. That's it.
So for great specials and great service, drive in for a change at Sonic.
Finally, intelligent life in auto insurance. Be progressive. Call 1-800-AUTO-PRO for savings that are out of this world. And remember,
fruits and vegetables are known to be healthy, but now a new study shows these healthy treats may have more than one cancer-fighting ingredient. We'll explain tonight at 10 in Health Beat.
He's driving across America, but he's not in a car, and it's going to take him a while. After all, he's only going 10 miles an hour. Brad Hodder left Atlanta today on a 2-month mow across the country. He's doing it for charity. The event is sponsored by an Ohio lawn tractor maker. The goal of the drive, mow, is to raise $100,000 for the Keep America Beautiful campaign. And I don't think he'll be stopping along the way to mow any lawn.
And with the price of gas, you might as well just drive a 67.
Yeah, take a
We'll be
plane.
stopping for gas, though, right?
Bye-bye now.
Good night.
We'll see you.
Fighting for her life, she needed her best friend. She's here. Come on out, Barb.
Brittany and I are going to be best friends for life.
A suicidal teen discovered he had everything to live for.
I remember feeling goosebumps. I felt sane.
And a moment that stopped the show.
I weigh 248 pounds. I have no self-esteem.
You are a beautiful girl, and you're the sweetest thing I've ever met.
Sent from the Heart, my favorite children's letters. Tomorrow's Oprah.
Tomorrow at 4 on KOLD.
When it comes to hairspray, the competition's stiff. The competition's sticky. The competition can't hold up to Pantene Pro V hairspray with the last test. Other hairsprays are just no match for Pro V. Only Pro V has the last test, so it holds this well, feels this good, and bounces right back into place. Pantene Pro V Flexible Hold Hairspray.
Local paper said it was a heart attack. Nurse Legazzo sent me the clipping. I don't know if there was more to it or not. 35's young for your pump to quit, but it happens. Molly and Hatch married in May of 1993. Ursula sent me that clipping, too. From what I hear, they've been good for each other. I'm glad. I wish them every happiness. I mean that with all my heart. Not everyone
on Little Tall's been so lucky. Jack and Angie Carver divorced about 2 months after Hatch and Molly got married. Jack fought for custody of Buster. He was pretty bitter, I guess, and lost. He moved off the island to Lewiston, rented a room, killed himself there one night, late in the summer of '94. He left what little he had to a fellow named Harmon Brodsky, who lost an eye in a barroom fight back in the '80s. Robbie Beals rebuilt the old fish house on the town dock and hired Kirk Freeman to work there. Kirk said Robbie's wife Sandra came down there early one morning in the spring of 1996, dressed in a yellow slicker and red boots, and told him she wanted to go for a little row. Kirk made her put on a life preserver. He said he didn't like the way she looked. He said it was like she was dreaming with her eyes open. But what could he do? It was a mild morning, no wind, not much of a swell, and she was the boss's wife. They found the boat, but they didn't find Sandy. There was one strange thing, but they didn't know what to make of it. There were people on the island who maybe could have helped them a little there. But island folks can keep a secret. We kept our share back in 1989, and the people who live there can keep them still. This is a cash and carry world. Pay as you go. Sometimes you only have to pay little. Mostly, it's a lot. Once in a while, it's all you have. That's a lesson I thought I learned 9 years ago on Little Tall during the storm of the century. But I was wrong. I only started learning during the big blow. I finished just last week. I could have written Molly and told her. I thought about it. I even prayed about it. When every choice hurts, how do you tell which one's the right one? In the end, I kept silent. Sometimes, mostly late at night when I can't sleep. I think that was wrong. But in daylight, I know better. In daylight, I know better.
Next on KCON 9 News at 10.
An explosive discovery among the shell casings at a local rifle club. The polio vaccine's possible link to an even deadlier disease. Plus, answering the question, Mom, can I have a tattoo?
wash your car more than you mow your lawn?
Shouldn't there be a national holiday for the guy who designed the GTO?
Ever meet a turn you didn't like?
Then get to the Pontiac Excitement Drive-Away, because now with this great offer on the handling and control of wide-track Grand Prix, the only question is, what are you waiting for?
This is today's Pontiac driving excitement.
This is for me.
For me.
Join us at the Excitement Drive-Away. See your dealer today.
Don't let your lips chap or dry. Keep them smooth with Stay Smooth Lip Color from Almay. The first anti-chap lip color is SPF 25. Get lips that won't chap, crack, or dry. Stay Smooth anti-chap lip color from Almay.
What would you do if a stranger talked to you?
I wouldn't talk to them because it might be bad.
Very good. And what would you tell someone playing with matches?
I would tell them not to play with them because they might start a fire.
Wow. How come you know so much?
My mommy told me.
Oh, and what did your mommy tell you about drugs?
Your children are listening. Are you talking?
Hello. Is this phone clear? Well, that depends on your definition of clarity. What? Clear like this? Or this? Or clear like this?
Sprint PCS gives you the clarity of the nation's only 100% digital, 100% PCS network, built from the ground up. And the simplicity of the new free and clear plan, including free long distance.
Great, I'll take it.
Sprint PCS, the clear alternative to cellular.
Colgate Total. The toothpaste so advanced, it keeps working all day, fighting cavities and tartar, plaque and gingivitis, even bad breath. Long-lasting Colgate Total, the brushing that works between brushings.
My biggest story ever.
You double-checked your sources?
Triple-checked them, Chief.
Then let's run with it.
Nobody in the world sells more real estate than RE/MAX.
RE/MAX Associates average more experience and more sales than other real estate agents.
Why in the world would you ever call anyone else?
Exactly.
This was quite the scoop, Ace. What tipped you off?
Let's just say there was something in the air.
ABC flashes back with Richard Dreyfuss.
I will use anything to teach a student to love music.
Of all the lives he's changed, the one that's changed the most was his own. The network television premiere, Mr. Holland's Opus, Sunday at 7, 6 Central on ABC's Flashback Weekend.
They say we're young, we don't know.
I want to be a star.
I got an idea for a TV show.
I knew this was going to happen.
I didn't.
An ABC original, and the beat goes on. Monday, 9/8 Central.
Imagine strolling through the desert and finding a landmine decades old. More on an explosive discovery coming up. Plus, city workers say they need a new multi-million-dollar building to work in, but who's going to pay for it? The news is next.
Now, from KGUN 9 in Tucson, this is KGUN 9 News at 10.
The city says this building has to go, and a new city hall is an absolute must. But will taxpayers end up paying for the upgrade? Good evening. Thank you for joining us. I'm Julie Myers in for Colleen Bagnell.
And I'm Guy Atchley. $75 million, the price tag for a new city hall in Tucson, but do we need it? And who's going to pay for it? As Terry Gonzalez reports, those are a few of the questions a citizens committee answered tonight.
Guy, if approved, this $75 million city hall plan would be the second largest financial undertaking in Tucson's history. Tonight, a citizens committee says Tucson has the bucks to back a new city hall, but others say the money could be better spent on the community, not bricks and mortar. Tucson City Hall, built in the late 60s. The city's grown since then, so has the number of its employees, and some say this building is busting at its seams.
We already are spread out downtown, and we have some leased facilities, and this, as we grow about 80 employees a year, we will have to have more leased facilities.
Brent Davis chairs a citizens committee created by the mayor and council. After months of research, the committee presented this information tonight. It believes the city does need a new, bigger city hall. It says the current city hall could be renovated. and says the city also needs a new Midtown police station. The committee says the cost for all this adds up to $75 million. It says the city has money sitting around that can only be used for capital like this. And it says that means no money comes out of the city's general fund or out of your pocket because there's no tax hike involved. The committee says Tucson's Midtown Police Substation was originally built as a firehouse for 11 firefighters. Today, it houses over 100 officers and support staff. While many citizens agree the police department does need a new substation, some say a new city hall can wait.
Tucson ranks at the bottom of the barrel in most every service for the poor, the indigent, for our youth, our crime problems, and so forth, and those should be addressed. And then we can add on to the city hall.
Some city leaders also think the money would be better spent elsewhere. Councilmember Jose Ibarra thinks the city should look at buying more equipment for the police department. And Councilmember Shirley Scott thinks Tucson needs a new senior citizen center. Guy?
Thanks, Terry. You might remember a plan to build a new city hall near the library, but the Citizens Committee scrapped that idea in favor of 4 other possible sites. They could build alongside the current city hall at Alameda and Main, or by the Bank of America building at Stone and Pennington. They could also tear down the City Hall Annex at Pennington and Scott, or build up the train depot at Pennington and Toole Avenue. If you have an opinion about this, you can call the Mayor and Council comment line, 791-4700. Again, that's 791-4700, or contact them through their website at ci.tucson.az.us. The council probably will make a decision after the election in November.
Another Tucson shooting range is closed tonight, at least temporarily. That's because someone made an explosive discovery at the Tucson Rifle Gun Club, hidden landmines. The rifle range is about 3 miles west of 3 Points on West Highway 86. Steve Nunez joins us now. This is a pretty scary discovery.
Yes, it is, Julian. A very bizarre discovery. Pima County Sheriff say the mines are low-powered practice landmines, but they're still considered dangerous. A Tucson Gun Club member found 22 landmines last week. Davis Mountain bomb experts blew up at least 7 of them. This explosive mystery is not over. First, the Tucson Rod and Gun Club shut down. Last week, ATF chained up the Tucson Rifle Club, not because of public pressure, but because a club member discovered live military landmines less than 7 blocks from Highway 86.
And right now, I'm walking between the two. Now, club members found the landmines right over there. And what makes this even scarier is that the only thing that keeps me from crossing onto this land is this barbed wire.
The Arizona Game and Fish Department says the military used this site to train during World War II, but they can't confirm that's how the landmines got here.
But I never remember any tanks driving down this way. No, I do not.
Marion Whitfield has lived nearby since 1931.
I remember when the Native Americans used to go to town in wagons.
And Whitfield remembers when the Air Force trained in the area, but she says they never flew closer than 5 miles to the east. So when we told her about the underground explosive discoveries, she was beyond shocked.
Yes, it's very scary. What if my horse had stepped on one of them? Steve, can you imagine that my daughter and I used to ride to a ranch out that way when she was still a little girl?
No one seems to know how the landmines got here, but investigators aren't the only ones who are puzzled by this mystery.
I cannot believe that was that close. It just doesn't make sense.
Other longtime residents in the area say they don't remember any war games in the area. An Army bomb team out of San Diego will sweep the desert area for more landmines tomorrow morning.
If they haven't heard of any military activity, has anybody brought up the question of militia activity?
That's the first thing that went through Whitfield's mind, but she says she's never seen militia activity in the area. The Arizona Game and Fish Department says it's also ruling out that possibility, but no word yet on when the Tucson Gun Club will reopen.
A mystery. All right, thanks, Steve. This isn't the first time in recent months that someone has found explosives on their property. In November, a family discovered a 250-pound bomb on this land in Sahuarita, but it wasn't as bad as it could have been. When the bomb squad from DM blew it up, they found it was a dummy bomb. The training pilots in the Air Force dropped them in the 40s. The University of Arizona has finally come up with a solution to its crowded dorm dilemma, thanks to some ambitious young minds. The university wanted to kick about 250 students off campus to give incoming freshmen a place in the dorms. But angry upper-class students proposed something else, changing rooms in this dorm from double to triple occupancy, converting this old sorority house and transforming office space in this building into housing. The university agreed, and now there should be room for everyone.
Tucson is gearing up for a presidential visit, but you will not get the chance to meet the First Lady at the same time. President Clinton will make a stop in Tucson next Thursday. We still don't know much about the trip, but the White House is confirming that Mrs. Clinton will not be here. The president talked to people in New Hampshire today about Social Security and Medicare. Clinton plans to address the same subjects in Tucson.
It's an old art that's turned into a teenage craze.
But tattoos are not always as popular with parents, so stay tuned. We'll show you how to handle your kid's request to go under this needle next.
And later, this vaccine virtually wiped polio out. But now there's a scary twist. It might also spark a deadly disease.
And good evening, everybody. It's mild out there tonight, currently 62 degrees. And my weather spotlight tonight, back to the 80s in terms of our temperatures the next few days. Looks like temperatures could approach but will not exceed records. And we will see some of those passing high clouds. My forecast coming up in 6 minutes.
You're watching KGON 9 News at 10 with Guy Ashley and Colleen Bagnell.
Number one for 46 years, and we're celebrating. It's Sam Levitt's 46th anniversary sale, and the savings are incredible. Everything is anniversary sale price. Plus, get interest-free financing for 1 year. And don't miss all the extras, like this beautiful 3-wick candle, yours free with a $3.99 purchase. Plus, register to win a fabulous Hawaiian vacation, including $1,000 cash. It's a grand celebration. It's a huge sale at both big Sam Levitt's locations today. Sam Levitt.
See it, drive it, like it, own it. Tucson's 7 GM dealers: Don Mack, Oldsmobile, Cadillac, and GMC Trucks, Watson Chevrolet, Saturn of Tucson, Royal Buick, Amick Oldsmobile, Capital, Pontiac, and O'Reilly Chevrolet are bringing over 600 vehicles to one location for the best ever factory authorized clearance sale. With as low as 0% financing, your GM dealers are dedicated to getting you your new car or truck. So be sure and stop by this Thursday, Friday, and Saturday at the Tucson Convention Center so you too can see it, drive it, like it, and own it.
KGON 9 is giving away 4 family vacations to the Disneyland Resort. Watch KGON 9 News at 5 now through March 5th. Write down the Disneyland word of the day and send it to KGON 9. Each week, KGON 9 will pick one family of 4. If you're the lucky winner, you'll stay at the Disneyland Pacific Hotel and fly Southwest Airlines to Disneyland. Southwest Airlines, a symbol of freedom. Look for details in the KGON 9 coupon directory in your mailbox. Watch and win only from Disneyland and KGON 9.
In financial news, stocks are plummeting. For more on this,
Choose the wrong wireless phone service.
Winston, get me a phone that works.
With AirTouch, you get coverage you can count on.
Excuse me.
Who knows? It could change your life. AirTouch.
Get 2 months of service and share 100 minutes for just $29.95 a month. Call for details.
This little needle turns your skin into a canvas, changing it forever. So how young is too young to make such a permanent decision? A lot of people associate tattoos with leather-clad bikers or rowdy sailors.
But times are changing. Now even yuppies and kids are sporting them. So what do you say when your little angel asks for a tattoo? Tammy Vigil has more in a KGON 9 News Extra.
A recent study asked 2,100 teenagers about tattoos. Half of them wanted one, and 1 out of 10 had one already. It is news that is bound to cause some parents to shudder. What do you do if your kids say, "Mom, I want a tattoo"? Sue Hammond is a living work of art. Her body, a canvas for a collage of color. It's something that's become a prickly subject for 15-year-old Tim Childers and his mother. He wants some. No, I know exactly how it looks.
He doesn't.
My mom would rather me wait.
Till he's 18.
We don't allow them to do an awful lot of things at that age, and I think that this is one of the major decisions, is putting something on your body that can't be removed.
I would have to say it's done very well.
Tattoo artist Keely Tackett knows exactly where Margaret is coming from. Even before the law required it 2 years ago, she drew the line on marking up minors without parents' permission.
We try to talk them out of it for the obvious reasons. They're too young, they're still growing, they're still maturing.
And sometimes too immature to keep up with the constant cleaning a new tattoo needs. They take about 2 weeks to heal. Until then, there's a risk of infection.
Another reason why the studio turns away most teens is because their tastes are guaranteed to change. For example, while they might like this bear when they're younger, they might want more realistic-looking bears like these when they're older.
The carpet and the furniture I have in my home now, it reflects nothing of how I felt when I was 18 or even 17. So people's views change and their tastes change.
When he's 18 years old and it's his decision to make it, he can make it, but I hope he does so in consultation with somebody like Keely, who is a real professional and won't do anything really silly like sticking it on his face or putting it in an inappropriate place on his body.
I was thinking of getting a Japanese symbol right here, in a Celtic knot right here.
He's already selected to stain his shoulders with these symbols. He's just got to wait to wear them.
It's not a big deal for me. It's like, I have to wait for all the other stuff, like, getting a license, getting a car.
And now getting a permanent paint job emblazoned on his body for all eternity. Of course, an eternity is an awful long time, and with today's technology, you can get rid of a tattoo with laser surgery. But that comes at a steep price, often between $800 and $1,600 a session.
Not cheap. Thanks, Tammy. The cost of laser surgery is not the only drawback. There are health risks, which can include hepatitis B and tetanus. You risk this by going to shops that do not comply with strict sterilization rules. Also, some people can have skin reactions to certain dyes or develop ugly scars.
And from what I understand, it can be a little painful.
Yeah.
Having a needle.
I'll never find out.
Neither will I. Pesticides protect fruits and vegetables from insects.
But those same chemicals can be very dangerous for humans. Later, find out why a thorough washing might be enough to make your food safe, especially for kids.
And more on some slow-going travel in the Midwest, plus your forecast next.
Hi, folks. Welcome to Ford Talk. Frank, I think we get our customers a new 99 Ford Ranger for just $199 a month.
$199? Let's make this interesting. How about $179?
Better yet, Frank, how's $159 a month?
Not as good as $149.
Now, that's the deal. Folks, get Tucson's best-selling Ranger XLT 4x2 with air for just $149 a month. Only at Jim Click Ford
or Home Startle Ford today.
You know, Frank, at $149 a month, I'm betting folks are going to buy 2 Rangers.
I'm betting on 3.
The secret to a beautiful home is in planning. That's when stylish furniture and interior design really work. It's all in your plan. At California Design Center, planning is part of the shopping experience. Whether you're buying one piece at a time or an entire room, our outstanding selection and design professionals can help make your dollars go the farthest and your dreams for a beautiful home come true. Experience, selection, and creativity. California Design Center. Plan on shopping with us.
Got a news tip to report? Dial pound KGUN free from any AirTouch cellular phone. It's coming. The 74th Annual La Fiesta de los Vaqueros Rodeo Parade. Don't miss a minute of the sights and sounds of this Southwestern tradition. Live Thursday, February 25th at 9, right here on KGUN 9.
Brought to you in part by Old Tucson Studios. New shows, live entertainment. You're never too old for Old Tucson Studios, the town built for fun.
Attention RVers, it's the time of the year that the dealers hate and the public loves. It's liquidation time at the Pima County Fairgrounds. Over 1,000 motorhomes, trailers, fifth wheels, and luxury diesels, both new and used, with savings so big that it could revolutionize RV buying. Everything from non-slides to triple slides, 17-footers to 43-footers. On-the-spot special financing and approvals. Bring your trade. No one will be turned away. Going on now at the Pima County Fairgrounds. No city tax.
An important message from the Rockefeller Law Firm.
If you've been injured in an accident, put the injury lawyers at the Rockefeller Law Firm on your side. Proudly serving Tucson since 1973.
This portion of KGUN 9 News is brought to you by Budget Car Sales.
Now, KGUN 9 weather with AMS meteorologist Paul Hutner.
Well, when it snows up in the Cascades, it really snows. This is along Highway 20, which saw a major snowslide earlier today. It closed the highway. 2 cars were stuck in the snow in a log truck, but nobody was injured. The slide 8 feet tall and more than 1/4 of a mile long. Welcome back, everybody. We could use some snow like that in our mountains, but unfortunately none in my forecast. I'm looking for more warmer weather, if that's correct. Warmer weather, anyway, the next few days. Today was plenty warm. We were close to 80 at 77 degrees. The low this morning was a balmy 40. And right now outside, we are still holding at 62 degrees out there. The dew point very dry at 20. We have a south wind right now at 8 miles an hour. All right, across the country, the biggest weather system really right here in the center part of the country. And we'll fly you down into this one, and you'll be able to see the clouds above and the rains and some snow, actually, that moved across the center part of the country. We'll cruise up towards Omaha, Nebraska, and you can see the snow there was coming down about 4 to 6 inches worth in Omaha today. Made for some tough sledding in and around that part of the country. But they'll get by. It's winter there, and they're used to that kind of thing. You can see the rains, which have been swirling through the center part of the country, and this system now beginning to clip off to the east. A few thunderstorms popping up in parts of Mississippi tonight, but pretty quiet in our neck of the woods. Clouds continuing to move across the east coast. Systems have been moving pretty quickly right across the country, and back to the west is where they've seen all the action, but here, just a lot in the way of high clouds for us. And it's been cold up north, as you would expect. Feels like winter across much of the country, but warm down here in the southern states, and that trend will certainly continue. For us, just those high clouds, and they've been moving at us from the west, and we'll continue to see periods of high cloudiness. You can see how they just kind of drift across the state. And we'll continue to see that trend the next couple of days, but increasing amounts of sunshine, all the rain to the north, and that's been a very typical scenario for us as we've gone through this year, and that's one of the reasons we're very warm. Temperatures, even at this hour of the night, 50s and 60s here in the deserts, and over the next 24 hours, as the cold settles in tonight in this model forecast, you can see that tomorrow the heat builds once again, and we're going to be on the edge of 80-degree temperatures tomorrow. That's why I'm forecasting warmer weather. Should be about 44 by the time you wake up tomorrow morning. Already 73 by lunchtime with some of those high clouds and some sun mixed in. So cold up here because the jet stream is pretty far south this time of the year. But look at the warm air beginning to move up at us. Tonight we'll dip to about 44 for our overnight low. Wilcox 27, 30 for Safford by morning. And tomorrow we'll be looking at a high close to 80 degrees. My forecast then for Tucson looks like this. High clouds and mild. Our low near 44 degrees tonight. Tomorrow we'll be looking for a sun and cloud mix, but a warm day. A high right around 80. And then for tomorrow night, still some of those high clouds, but mild with a low of 46. Your next 7 days will include warm temperatures, to be sure. We'll be pushing 80, as a matter of fact, right through the weekend. But we do have a cold front on the way, so a bit of a change by the time we head into Monday. 69 for the high, but that high only right around normal for this time of the year.
It's amazing, isn't it? Yeah. Thanks, Paul. If a simple test could save you from a deadly and common cancer, you'd take it, right?
Believe it or not, too often the answer is no. Plus, more on a frightening new information about a vaccine almost all of us get.
Attention Tucson, head for the hills, the Foothills Mall for budget car and truck sales. All American sell-off. Budget is purchase over 200 additional vehicles and place them at the Foothills Mall. Why buy new? Get a budget vehicle at sell-off price up to 44% less than original prices when new. Just bring $49 and buy one of 20 models for under $200 a month during the All American Sell-Off. Going on now with the Foothills Mall and at Budget Car and Truck Sales 4 locations.
Mom, is this a stash song?
Yes, is that okay?
Carla Tate has a handicap to overcome. Her mother.
You remember, no, stop, and don't forget your pepper spray.
But now it's time
You want to be my girlfriend?
to follow her own heart.
Are you getting the pepper spray?
Juliette Lewis, Diane Keaton, and Giovanni Ribisi.
I wonder who thought up sex in the first place.
I think it was Madonna.
The Other Sister. Rated PG-13. Sneak preview this Saturday.
Lumps of fat dimple your thighs. Cellulite. You can't diet cellulite away. Even exercise won't work. But this can. Forget liposuction. This is the cellulite solution you've been waiting for. Safe and surgery-free.
People are surprised when they see me. I've never worn a bikini until this summer. It's the first year I've ever worn a bikini.
Don't let that bikini scare you. Get up and do something about cellulite. Tomorrow on KGUN 9 News at 5.
Walmart everyday low prices means everything, every day.
Everyday low prices really mean something at Walmart.
Every single item in the store, every day.
Every blouse, every dress, all my kitchen appliances.
Everyday low prices means you don't have to wait for an ad to get the best price.
Shampoo, mouthwash, games for the kids, all my son's sports stuff. I know I can always save at Walmart.
Low prices every day on everything you need. Always low prices. Always Walmart.
See it, drive it, like it, own it. Tucson's 7 GM dealers, Don Mack, Oldsmobile, Cadillac, and GMC Trucks, Watson Chevrolet, Saturn of Tucson, Royal Buick, Amick Oldsmobile, Capital Pontiac, and O'Reilly Chevrolet are bringing over 600 vehicles to one location for the best ever factory-authorized clearance sale. With as low as 0% financing, your GM dealers are dedicated to getting you your new car or truck. So be sure and stop by this Thursday, Friday, and Saturday at the Tucson Convention Center so you too can see it, drive it, like it, and own it.
In health news tonight, is your food safe for your kids?
And alarming news about a life-saving vaccine. Health and medicine specialist Katie McCall has tonight's HealthNet Extra.
If you're one of the tens of millions of people who had the polio vaccine in the 1950s and 60s, scientists could have some bad news for you. The vaccine that saved generations from a devastating illness is now being investigated for a possible link to cancer. Scientists at Baylor College of Medicine say a batch of the vaccine was tainted with a cancer-causing virus. The vaccine in question was made before 1962. Some doctors say people shouldn't be alarmed. There is still no link between the virus and cancer in people. The government says Americans aren't doing enough to reduce their risk for a deadly form of cancer. Colorectal cancer is the second leading cause of cancer deaths in the U.S. Screening for it is cheap and easy, but the Centers for Disease Control says only about 40% of Americans 50 and older get regular screening. And another medical alert, the fruits and vegetables you give your children may not be as healthy as you think. A massive Consumer Reports study found the government isn't doing enough to screen the pesticides on U.S. foods. The group says even if you wash your food, residues left behind are still too strong for small children. The data comes from USDA fruits and vegetable samples between 1994 and 1997. With tonight's Health Notes, I'm Katie McCall.
To avoid eating pesticides, some shoppers choose fruits and vegetables labeled organic. That sense of security comes at a price, though. Organic produce is more expensive than the regular kind.
The Diamondbacks are practicing in spring training.
Hear how Randy Johnson's fitting in. And the Cats came out kicking, but could the Beavers put up a fight? Highlights next. But first, the Charter Funding scoreboard.
The tents are up and the time to save is now at your Tucson Toyota dealer's 4th annual factory authorized tent sale. For 4 days only, choose from over 500 new Toyotas and get incredible low 1.9% financing at all new 99s. The best deals in the season are going on now. Nothing's bigger, nothing's better, nothing saves you more. So hurry in now before the tents go down at the 4th annual Toyota tent sale. See Desert Toyota and Precision Toyota of Tucson.
Are you hungry for a good time? Are you ready for some fun? When you're really, really hungry, no more eating on the run. Gotta get the Peter Piper, cause you're hungry for some fun.
Now Peter Piper's large pepperoni pizza is only $5.99. All that great taste, fresh and hot from the oven. Come see why Peter Piper is America's pizza place.
When you're hungry, when you're hungry for fun.
American Home Furnishings is your total home store with the Southwest's best selection of furniture and home products, all at everyday low prices. American has the largest selection of dinnerware and flatware, including an extensive in-stock selection of made-in-the-USA genuine Fiesta ware. Choose dinnerware and accessories in 8 colors and over 160 styles, with dinner plates starting at just $5.99 every day. Great values plus quick, easy financing. American Home Furnishings.
Because of our passion for design and engineering, our vehicles speak for themselves. And recently, others have had some great things to say about our quality, too. Sebring Convertible, Total Quality Award. Town & Country, Total Quality Award. Cirrus, Best in Class and Initial Quality by J.D. Power & Associates. Concord, Best in Class and Initial Quality by J.D. Power & Associates. Chrysler, engineered to be great cars.
KGUN 9 News is brought to you in part by Rubberized Roofing, Tucson's leader in roof coating. Now, KGUN 9 Sports with Dave Silver.
Well, tonight at McHale Center, and it's the freshman Rick Anderson from downtown. 3 of his career-high 14 points as the Wildcats gun down Oregon State. It was a rare, easy victory for the Wildcats with so many close games this year. It was nice to see them cruise through OSU 89-72. Little revenge for the U of A, losers at Oregon State in January. Cats go inside early. Jason Terry to Michael Wright, Mr. Dependable. Richard Jefferson, another good game, dishing out the assists inside to A.J., and Bramlett says thank you. Cats up 16 at the break. Freshman Rick Anderson, his best game yet. The lob from Richard Jefferson, nice hands. 14 points, a career high. Oregon State midway in the second half. DeAndre Tanner, game high 27. Cats pull away though. Jason to AJ for the dunk. Then Justin Wessel with the steal. Ahead to Eugene Edgerson. And he's going to put it away as the Wildcats take it 89-72. Good all-round effort tonight for the Cats at McHale.
I mean, this was a good game for us all around. I mean, probably the best overall game we've played in a long time since probably the Stanford and Cal game. So with this win, I mean, hopefully we can build something and get a good win on Saturday and play well and keep it rolling.
It was fun out there. I haven't really played a lot this season, but I really went out there and just, I mean, had fun. Everybody had fun.
Wildcats make it 17 straight at home against Oregon State. They improved to 19-4 with Oregon here on Saturday at 1. In Tempe, the Ducks and Devils, tight game. Alex Scales makes a nice move for the Ducks. They're up 68-61 after that floater. Back come the Devils. Jason Patton throws up a three-pointer. He had 18 tonight. It's Scales, another good move down low to the basket and the foul. They led 75-72, but the Devils will tie the game. Mike Batiste, 37 seconds left. Ducks by 1. ASU, the ball at the end. Bobby Laser, what are you doing? From about 30 feet away. It's not going to go. Devils go down 76-75. Other games tonight at Seattle. Look at that one as the Huskies get run out of their own gym by Stanford 89-57. And in Pullman, the Cougars surprise California 79-73. It was semifinal night in the 4A state tournament. A handful of schools from southern Arizona still alive. Girls 4A semifinals, Tucson Saguaro against Scottsdale Saguaro. And the Tucson team in white gets the job done. Marion Mathis takes the pass down low. Katie Bruns continues her great season from the corner. She drains a three. And Therese Harper also hitting from long range up at America West Arena. She had 18. Cougars get to Saturday night's final. They beat Scottsdale Saguaro 59-48. Boys semifinal, Santa Rita against Apollo. The Eagles come up big. Ryan Sonic scores. Donnie Bunyan, the point guard, penetrates. He had 13 for Santa Rita. And then it's Mark Brown. And they're going to go to the finals, too. 18 for Brown. Santa Rita gets into the final game. They get the win tonight over Apollo. In the late game, not good news for Marana. They're knocked off by Thunderbird. So it'll be Thunderbird and Santa Rita in the championship on Saturday. Spring training begins in Tucson. The Diamondbacks are the first team to hit the field, and we got our first look at the big unit. Randy Johnson Everyone keeping close tabs on the big left-hander, a guy they spent a lot of money on, but he doesn't seem to care about the cash. He cares about the wins and losses. The D-backs have 6 starting pitchers, including Johnson, and he knows it's a staff that'll be able to trot out a good pitcher every night.
No, I don't feel I'm the guy here. I didn't feel I was the guy in Houston. That was part of the media building up that I was the guy. I think it's safe to say that being here, there's 5, not including me, solid starting pitchers here.
Diamondbacks continue those workouts at the Keno Sports Complex, and tomorrow the White Sox are going to practice on their side of the facility out there, and the Rockies take over at High Corbett Field with the pitchers and the catchers. The other news of the day comes from the Yankees as they acquire pitcher Roger Clemens. Calm down, guy. I know that you're the big Yankee fan here. The 5-time Cy Young Award winner goes to the defending World Series champions. Traded by the Blue Jays, who get David Wells, Graham Lloyd, and Homer Bush. Clemens with a chance to get back to the World Series. Unbelievable. Also some sad news about Andres Galarraga of the Braves. Has cancer, has found a tumor in his back. He's going to miss the entire season. I know a lot of Rocky fans are on their way to Tucson, and they watched him with that.
And the prognosis for him?
Prognosis is good. It's good, but he's not going to play this year.
Thanks, Dave. Back in a minute.
When it's time to coat, patch, or even replace your roof, you need to rubberize it. Rubberized roofing products have a 52-year record of proven reliability, and at $39.99 for 5 gallons of elastomeric white roof coating, it's the best value in the country. Rubberized roof coatings are easily applied on virtually any type of roof and help keep your house cool. Let the experts show you how to care for your roof, because no one cares for your home like you do. Rubberized roofing. Roofing systems you can trust, with 2 locations in Tucson. Let's compare the Chevy S10 to the Ford Ranger. Apples to apples. The S10 has more cargo space, more horsepower, and better gas mileage than the Ford Ranger. It has more room, and the S10 has standard 4-wheel anti-lock brakes. ABS costs extra on the Ford. And when it comes to affordability, the Chevy S10 is the obvious choice. Because right now you can get $1,000 cash back, or 0.9% APR. So when you compare the rugged Chevy S10 with the others, the right truck is not hard to pick.
Rolling, rolling, rolling. Keep those prices rolling. Rolling, rolling, rolling. Roll back. Roll back, move them out, move them out. Roll back, roll them back, move them out. Roll back.
We're rolling back prices all over the store. Just look for Smiley to save even more. Walmart.
Move them out. Roll back.
Always low prices.
Yeah.
Always.
4, 3, 2, 1. Announcing the launch of the newest in basketball shoes, the Nike Air Aggress Force, the Air Afterburner Flight, the Air Protean Uptempo, and the Air Holistic Uptempo. The world's greatest selection, Nike's latest basketball shoes, taking off from a Just for Feet store near you.
Direct from London, Dublin Worldwide Productions presents Spirit of the Dance. Tickets at Dillard's. Call 791-4266.
Closed captioning of KGUN 9 News is brought to you by the Tucson Auto Mall. Annual clearance going on now.
All right, tomorrow morning, a mild start to a warm day. It looks like some high clouds, about 50 early, and we're headed for near 80 in the afternoon.
Wow, going to be a warm one. That's our news for tonight. Thanks for watching.
Good night. Good night. Good night.
We're generous with everything we put into a...
February 18th, 1999.
The clock is ticking, and pressure is mounting for the Serbs to accept a peace deal or face NATO bombing.
They should accept it, and they must not underestimate the cost of rejecting it.
Either way, U.S. forces will be at the center of another flashpoint, and no one knows for how long.
I think the administration knows what it's getting into, but I don't think it knows how it's going to get out of it.
Will Kosovo become another Iraq, where there are almost daily skirmishes?
Lasers on. Splash.
Tonight, U.S. troops on the move again. What are we getting into this time?
From ABC News, this is Nightline. Substituting for Ted Koppel and reporting from Washington, Chris Wallace.
By now, it's become almost routine. The Clinton administration gearing up for another foreign policy crisis. First, there's a deadline. Then U.S. warplanes are sent to enforce it. And in case anyone still hasn't gotten the message, plans are made to evacuate American diplomats before the bombing starts. If the way the U.S. is ratcheting up the pressure in Kosovo seems familiar, perhaps that's why critics are now so quick to raise questions about American policy, to say they've seen it all before in Iraq and Bosnia. Once again, they say, the White House is about to commit forces to a conflict with no clear exit in sight. Once again, they charge U.S. policy is to contain the problem, not solve it. Once again, U.S. forces are headed to a war zone. But as Nightline's Chris Bury reports, this time they face not only the threat of hostile fire, but also real doubts about their role.
The year-long presidential saga consumed so much time and energy that growing American military commitments have gone largely unnoticed. But in Iraq, U.S. warplanes enforcing the no-fly zones have intensified their bombing of Saddam's air defenses, and in the Balkans, another 51 American warplanes are being added to the more than 200 U.S. aircraft poised to attack Serbian targets if President Milosevic refuses to allow NATO peacekeepers into Kosovo.
He should understand that if airstrikes occur, he will be hit hard and he will be deprived of the things that he values.
Serb negotiators at the talks outside Paris face a deadline of noon Saturday to agree to get their troops out of Kosovo and allow NATO forces in, or else airstrikes. If an agreement is reached, U.S. Marines, now on ships in the Adriatic, will be the first of 4,000 American troops in a NATO force 30,000 strong. A commitment President Clinton announced almost out of sight near the end of his Saturday radio address the day after he was acquitted by the Senate.
Anytime we send troops, we must be mindful of the risks. But if these conditions are met, if there is an effective agreement and a clear plan, I believe America should contribute to securing peace for Kosovo.
There is no exit strategy.
Former Congressman Lee Hamilton, a Democrat who chaired the Foreign Relations Committee, fears American troops could be stuck in Kosovo for a very long time.
If you get an agreement, it's a 3-year interim agreement. It doesn't solve anything except stopping the violence, which is very, very helpful. But it does not solve the underlying political problem. So not only will those forces be there for the 3 years, I think it's likely they'll be there much longer.
Overshadowing all this is the lesson of Bosnia. In 1995, President Clinton promised the American military commitment there would be brief.
Our Joint Chiefs of Staff have concluded that this mission should and will take about 1 year.
More than 3 years later, nearly 7,000 American troops remain in Bosnia. This time, administration officials have been careful to not make similar promises about Kosovo. But many in Congress, including Republican Senator McCain, a possible presidential candidate, are giving only grudging support.
There's enormous skepticism out there and even anger on the part of some, particularly the way that the administration blatantly deceived us on the issue of how long troops would be in Bosnia. So there's an enormous credibility gap out there.
NATO troops, should they go into Kosovo, would ostensibly try to prevent bloodshed like the massacres of Albanians blamed on Serbian forces and attacks on the Serbs blamed on the Kosovo Liberation Army. Unlike Bosnia, where NATO troops separate ethnic factions in clearly marked zones, in Kosovo, troops would blanket the entire province, about the size of Connecticut. The risks are significant, according to ABC News military consultant Anthony Cordes.
When you insert yourself into a conflict like this, one side sooner or later sees you as an ally, and the other sees you as an enemy. And then you become a target or a hostage or a pawn in the political game they're playing as part of their conflict.
If the talks break down, NATO airstrikes could begin with cruise missile attacks launched by Navy ships in the Mediterranean. They would likely be followed within days by fighters and bombers launching strikes against Serb targets.
Serbia is not Iraq, and Serbia is not Kosovo. The Serbian armed forces are considerable, and their sophistication is much greater than many of these armies we've been dealing with. So the risks to American pilots and NATO forces are great.
In Iraq, meanwhile, the risks to American pilots have been growing too. Since Operation Desert Fox ended in December, American and British fighters and bombers have attacked more than 40 Iraqi targets in retaliation for more than 90 violations of the northern and southern no-fly zones. Most of the punishment has been inflicted on Iraqi air defenses, knocking out up to 20% of their system. But last month, one missile misfired, killing at least 17 civilians, according to Iraqi reports, and Saddam is now offering cash bounties for shooting down American planes.
Since Desert Fox, Saddam has almost desperately fought to have some kind of victory, to shoot down at least one Allied aircraft. He also has tried to manipulate the losses of civilians to the extent there have been any by turning them into martyrs.
Beyond patrolling the no-fly zones and containing Iraq from developing its more sinister weapons, the Clinton administration has suggested it is also trying to destabilize Saddam.
We will intensify our engagement with the Iraqi opposition groups, prudently and effectively. And we will stand ready to help a new leadership in Baghdad that abides by its international commitments and respects the rights of its own people.
The trouble is, even the commander of American forces in the Persian Gulf, General Anthony Zinni, was openly skeptical in a recent Senate hearing.
So there are 91 opposition groups, 91. We follow every one of those opposition groups in great detail. I will be honest, I don't see an opposition group that has the viability to overthrow Saddam at this point.
So in Iraq and Bosnia and now in Kosovo, the Clinton administration's policies and military commitments are coming under increasing scrutiny.
There's a deep mistrust of the president, not just because of the impeachment process, but because of past promises on Bosnia and other matters, so that a large number of members of Congress today simply don't trust the president.
In both parties?
In both parties, but more in the Republican than the Democratic Party. So the president doesn't have a reservoir there of trust to work on.
It is against that backdrop that American forces are about to join the NATO effort on Kosovo. One way or another, by air or on the ground, U.S. troops are once again headed into harm's way. And this time, no one knows how long they may stay. This is Chris Bury for Nightline in Washington.
Has the administration justified another open-ended commitment of U.S. troops? When we come back, we'll ask the Undersecretary of State, the former Supreme Allied Commander of NATO forces in Europe, and a member of the Senate Armed Services Committee.
This is ABC News Nightline, brought to you by Cadillac.
Splendid-looking Lexus. Thanks. Like my Seville, no doubt a technological marvel. Blessed with the control of the world's most renowned driving system. System? Look, that's right. You don't have the North Star system.
Seville, with all the power and control of the North Star system. Now just $549 a month. It's what's next.
Do I want to know how much?
No, it would break your heart.
See your Cadillac dealer today.
Tweety, I really don't think you guys are relatives.
I do.
MCI 5 cent Sundays helps me keep up with my Space Jam buddies. He doesn't even have feathers.
But we have the same last name.
It's just 5 cents a minute, every Sunday, along with low rates all week long. But just because he's Larry Bird and you're Tweety Bird doesn't mean you're related.
I don't know. We look an awful lot alike.
Call 1-800-SUNDAYS to become an MCI customer.
2020 Friday, these parents lost 6 children. What does that have to do with truckers, their licenses, and your safety on the road? 2020 investigates Friday.
We're generous with everything we put into a Plymouth. For example, Plymouth Neon, a powerful 150 horsepower engine, the most powerful standard coupe engine in its class, for just $10,735. Or how about Plymouth Breeze, air conditioning, a powerful 16-valve overhead cam engine. Or Plymouth Voyager, from the family of minivans that has won more awards than any other. Still the lowest price minivan you can buy. Be generous with yourself. Choose Plymouth.
See your Arizona Chrysler and Plymouth dealer.
Some mattresses are too firm, while others are too soft. But with a Spring Air back supporter mattress, you get conforming comfort and great support, so you sleep just right. Spring Air, the mattress with the just right feeling.
Be smart. Buy your Spring Air at FedMart, where you always get a low price guarantee, plus FedMart's bonus savings. Be smart. FedMart at 2 locations.
Joining me here in Washington, Ambassador Thomas Pickering, the Undersecretary of State for Political Affairs. From West Point, New York, retired 4-star General George Jalwin, the former Supreme Allied Commander of NATO forces in Europe. And from Lawton, Oklahoma, Senator James Inhofe, Chairman of the Readiness Subcommittee of the Senate Armed Services Committee. Ambassador Pickering, is stopping the bloodshed reason enough for sending U.S. troops into Kosovo?
It's an important reason, Chris. It's not the only reason. A major reason is the fact that this is an area now of great insecurity and great instability. It threatens the neighborhood, Macedonia, Albania, Montenegro. It could really, I think, spread if it is not dealt with carefully to our allies in Greece and Turkey. So it is an important problem from the security side. But the humanitarian side is equally important. We've had the massacre at Ratchak. This summer we had 250 to 300,000 Albanians pushed into the hills. Before the October crisis, it looked like 70,000 would be spending the winter alone in the ice and snow up in the woods. It is, from that point of view, extremely important. It is also important that NATO, in its leadership role in Europe, exercise its useful and valuable influence to bring this particularly dangerous situation to a halt. And the negotiations now going on are designed to achieve that.
General Jalwin, let me ask you what Ambassador Pickering just said. Both from a humanitarian standpoint and a strategic standpoint, reason enough to commit U.S. forces?
I believe so. I would say that it's also important to do it right, that when we commit forces, we're very clear on their objectives, the rules of engagement, and the command structure. But we have a new dynamic taking place in NATO, and the new NATO, as it adapts to its new missions, I think it has to go through the Balkans, and NATO has to come to grips with what is occurring in the Balkans, and that includes Kosovo.
Senator Inhofe, are you satisfied that the U.S. has a good reason for getting in and a good plan for getting out?
No, I'm not at all satisfied, and I disagree with the other two guests. I'm really concerned about it. As chairman of the Readiness Subcommittee, I can tell you we're not ready, and we're diluting our assets. We've had more deployments to areas where we don't have national security interests in this administration than we had in the last 3 administrations combined. I'm very much concerned about it. I've been to Kosovo. I tried to have an open mind, and when I got over there, I found that it's not just a matter of one bad guy and one good guy. And in fact, the 2 dead soldiers I saw when I was there, we turned them over. They're both Serbs, then shot at point blank. Now, it's not that we're not compassionate. It'd be awfully nice if we had the resources to go all around the world. There are some 60 civil wars going on right now. We don't have it. We shouldn't have gone into Bosnia to begin with. We certainly should not go into Kosovo.
Ambassador Pickering, Senator Inhofe brings up a point that a lot of critics do, and they say the problem is the same as the one in Bosnia, that as long as we're there, the killing may stop, but what's the exit plan, and what happens once we leave?
I think it's important the American people know that we have a clear exit plan. The exit plan is based on an agreement that's now being negotiated, which we hope will be achieved before Saturday. That agreement provides for the demilitarization of the region, for the permissive entry of NATO forces, of which we're only 14% or less. It provides for the creation of a local police force over 1 year, electoral processes to elect local leaders, an autonomy for the region of Kosovo, which, as you know, is 90% or more Albanian, an effort to develop not only self-government but law and order. The Serbs are to all pull out, with the exception of some troops on the border. It is, in my view, a very clear exit plan and a clear strategy that provides a future for the people of Kosovo, not in any way at all to be influenced in the way they have by the Serbs from outside. This particular approach, in our view, has a very good chance of establishing benchmarks over a period of time under which forces will gradually be drawn down and then withdrawn. The final effort after 3 years
But there is
of
no
autonomy,
deadline. Is there, Ambassador
we
Pickering?
learned in Bosnia, and you just repeated it, that setting a deadline, particularly one that looks artificial, has its own dangers and its own problems. There is no deadline, but there is clearly a set of very, very clear benchmarks that will allow us to withdraw and bring troops down as we go ahead.
Senator Inhofe, let me break in just to ask, how much does what has happened, the U.S. experience in Bosnia, carry over to doubts now about Kosovo?
Well, first of all, the cost. Now, I didn't hear Ambassador Pickering say anything about the cost, and I hope that before this program's over, he will come up with a figure of how much he's willing to pay for this venture in Kosovo. Because I can remember so well in November of 1995 when we were trying to stop the deployment of the troops over to Bosnia, when the president didn't just indicate or imply but promised that the troops would be back for Christmas of 1996. That was 3 Christmases ago, and it hasn't happened yet. The cost wasn't the $2 billion they're talking about. It's now exceeded $12 billion in direct costs. And my concern, as I said, is that's coming out of our readiness, our budget. Our force strength right now is about 60% of what it was in 1991. So these deployments just aggravate the problem that already is there from a starved military budget.
Ambassador Pickering, can you answer the senator's question?
Yes,
the cost?
we've said the cost, military will have a cost between $1.5 and $2 billion a year for this particular deployment. I think it's even more important, however, to think if this problem gets out of hand and if all of Eastern Europe, or certainly the lower Balkans, turns into turmoil, you can imagine what the cost would be. I also want to emphasize the fact that the Europeans are bearing a very, very large share of the costs, as opposed to a 60-30 split for the United States in Bosnia, with the United States at 30%. We're now down below 15% number of troops, and obviously with respect to that, the cost burden. I think that we're getting what we have been asked to do by the Congress and others, is to get the Europeans already to pick up a larger share of the burden.
Gentlemen, we have to break in here, but when we return, I want to ask you all about what's going on with Boris Yeltsin, and we'll continue our discussion in a moment.
Affliction, nominated for 2 Academy Awards. Best Actor, Nick Nolte, and Best Supporting Actor, James Coburn. The New York Times calls Affliction volcanic. Nick Nolte gives the performance of his career. The best film of the year, raves the New York Post. Nick Nolte, Sissy Spacek, Willem Dafoe, and James Coburn give wonderful performances. And Vogue says, brilliant. Nick Nolte should finally win his Oscar. From the acclaimed novel by Russell Banks, Affliction, rated R. Now playing select cities, starts Friday at additional theaters.
Some of the most innovative technologies of the last 2 decades can be found here, in the Chrysler and Plymouth minivans. Years of the most minivan innovations. Chrysler. We made the minivan what it is today. Now get $1,000 cash allowance or 1.9% APR on any Chrysler minivan.
You enter the financial world in search of a secure future. Instead, you find chaos and confusion. 9,000 companies to invest in. 10,000 mutual funds to choose from. Bonds, T-bills, commodities, precious metals. With new and unfamiliar choices emerging every day. The possibilities are overwhelming. Fortunately, there is a beacon in this complex world. An experienced partner who, for half a century, has helped tens of thousands of individuals and families find comfort instead of confusion. Come to the mountain called First Union. Or if you prefer, the mountain will come to you.
Coming up, Bobcat talks politics.
Clinton. I'm very excited about getting my own show.
Politically Incorrect with Bill Maher coming up on ABC.
If I had money, tell you what I'd do. All of America's singing about Ford's President's Day sales event. You'll find unheard of deals, like on Ford Ranger. Now choose 0-9 financing or get $1,000 cash back. Or get an F-150 with 0-9 financing for 36 months.
These deals won't be written in stone forever.
Don't miss the President's Day sales event. It all ends February 22nd. See Jim Click in Untitled Ford. Woo!
And we're back now with Undersecretary of State Thomas Pickering, former NATO commander General George Jalwin, and Senator James Imhoff. Ambassador Pickering, I have to ask you about this curious incident today where Russian President Yeltsin said he'd told President Clinton by both phone and letter, hands off Kosovo, and apparently it turns out there was no phone call and no letter. What do you make of that?
Well, I'm not sure of all the details. We're still trying to sort that out, but this is a well-known Russian position. It hasn't come as anything new. What is important is that on the 29th of January, the contact group, which includes Russia, agreed to an approach to Kosovo, including bringing the parties to negotiation, giving them a tight deadline. NATO reinforced that by saying that if the parties didn't meet the deadline, particularly if the Serbs didn't, and they seem to be lagging now, then there would be the threat of the use of force, airstrikes.
Ambassador, what I'm asking, though, is, do you think Yeltsin is fit to be president?
But I think Yeltsin is president of Russia. I'm not going to make a judgment about his fitness. I don't do medical diagnosis from a distance. I didn't during the Russian elections when I was there, and I'm not going to attempt to try to do that now. I think what is important, however, is he stated what Russia has said many times. What is important, however, is that Russia is working with us in cooperating in a process to get an agreement which we believe can push forward the process of building peace and stability in the Balkans.
General Jalwin, let's turn, if we can, to Iraq. The administration says it has a new policy not only to contain Saddam Hussein, but also to move to overthrow him. Do you see any real signs that that's going to work?
Well, I will refrain from the overthrow side. The commander there, General Zinni, has given his personal opinion. I am very concerned on the containment side. What happens if these weapons of mass destruction continue to be developed and his neighbors continue to be threatened? I don't know whether we've thought through a strategy that takes us to that point. But I think you have a person here, a dictator, that can truly destabilize an area of vital interest to the United States.
Senator Inhofe, do you share the general's concerns about Iraq?
Well, I'm very much concerned about Iraq. I think our foreign policy has been an absolute disaster. For the first time that I can recall, we've drawn the line in the sand and backed away 3 times. We had build-ups, as we did right before Thanksgiving, and then we turned around, even though the advice of the Secretary of State, the Secretary of Defense, the Chairman of the Joint Chiefs of Staff was to go ahead and get in there and get it over with in Iraq. We pulled out. That cost about $2 billion, that one exercise. I'm not sure that Saddam Hussein or anyone in that region of the Middle East is going to believe this president.
Ambassador Pickering?
I think the people are going to believe the president. You saw what happened in the middle of December. This has helped to destabilize Saddam. If you've been watching him closely since that, he's acted in weird ways. He's been unable to protect his own people, to assure his army, as he has in the past, that he would do that. He's been lashing out at his Arab neighbors. He's threatening to overthrow people right, left, and center. He has in many ways now tried to continue to violate the no-fly zone in hopes that he can shoot down an American plane. The result, however, has been, as you indicated, he's lost 20% and perhaps more of his air defense equipment. This, of course, is an effective policy of containment.
Mr. Ambassador, there are a lot of people who disagree with the things that you've said just now. I can remember when Scott Ritter came out, and I know that he's not held in a very high regard by the administration, but he had to come out and say what was really going on. His estimate was that they are going back up now very close to the positions they were at before. And you've been watching clips, I'm sure, of the TV over there, Saddam Hussein celebrating, backing down the Americans. I'm just embarrassed about the whole thing, and I disagree with the statement.
Ambassador Pickering, we have only less than a minute left. What's the chances that 2 years, even 5 years from now, that we'll be stuck in the same standoff with Saddam Hussein?
I believe, of course, that the president has adopted a long-term strategy of regime change. It will not, as General Zinni said, happen instantly, and no one group at the moment is capable of doing that. We all agree with that. But we are engaged in a long-term plan of development of resources, people, opposition groups, bringing them together, beginning to build those who will take over the new Iraq. And we're very confident that over the term of our efforts in this regard, we can make some real progress. Obviously, dates certain in any issue as difficult as this are not clearly the kind of thing that one puts out on television. But I can tell you that our policy remains containment with a very strong and heavy new emphasis on the issue of regime change, and we will continue to do that. It took us a long time for the Cold War. It took us a long time for many other difficult problems. But patience and persistence, not usually American qualities, are the kinds of things that are best called for here.
We're going to have to end it there. Ambassador Pickering, thank you very much.
Thank
and
you.
Also General Jawin, Senator Inhofe, thank you all very much for joining us tonight. And I'll be back in a moment.